Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
their negative experiences. So we'll be covering one of those today, and this is about the whole Cinder drama inspired a lot of people to come out with their experiences with other creators in the space, their negative experiences. So we'll be covering one
Thank
of
you.
those
Thank
today,
you.
and this is about a creator by the name of Vanilla Beans. A lot of people have come out with their side of their experience with this creator. By the way, if you guys don't know the Cinder stuff, TLDR, real quick, Cinder, big VTuber, her and her manager, aka also her boyfriend, bullied a bunch of their friends, made a blacklist, put all their friends on the blacklist, then sent that blacklist to their artist and told their artist, only work with me, don't work
Oh
with
yeah,
these
I saw
people,
that.
cancel your project with these people. Yeah,
We
big
saw that
troll
one.
energy was absolutely canceled on the internet because that is a humongous betrayal to all of your friends to actively sabotage their projects. The Cinder situation kicked off a lot of people coming forward with their experiences with other people. So here we have Twitter user Lexagon writing, I'm not gonna lie, the whole Cinder situation is just having me relive and replay a lot of things that happened over the last year. Friendships come and go, and I can admit when I was wrong. However, I need to get something off my chest that I've been holding onto for a very long time. This isn't for drama, I'm not looking for a reaction. I need to get this out because I've been holding it in way too long. Vanilla Beans, you were a terrible friend to me. You hurt me more than anyone else in this space ever had. You gave me an ultimatum, told me to pick between you and someone else I cared about. Who does that? That's not friendship, that's control. And it didn't stop there. You got angry at me for not telling you I was engaged to my ex. Like, sorry, I have boundaries and don't want my personal life on display, especially around somebody who made everything about themselves. That was my moment, not yours to be mad about. Everything with you was about numbers. Views, retweets, interactions. You treated relationships like networking tools. If something didn't benefit your content or clout, it didn't matter. I saw it, I felt it. You also made that clear. And I'll never forget that stream. The one where you said you were going to fix me. Do you even realize how messed up that is? I thought it was gonna be a funny, haha, look, Lex is weird, but it turned into you belittling me on your stream and to your chat. You gaslit me over and over again. Twisted everything until I thought I was the one causing the problems. Like I was crazy or overreacting. And I believed you for a while, I really did. Even after we stopped being friends, you kept running your mouth. I kept
You
quiet.
miss your
I
ex?
never said a word. But you
Dang.
kept bringing me up. You banned me from a mutual stream.
Why?
You went out of your way to exclude me, belittle me, tear
Cause
me
you're
down.
just lonely.
For what? The last time we ever spoke, a 2-hour phone call where you just
Listen.
yelled at me, talked
Listen,
down to
sir.
me like I was nothing.
Listen, sir.
I sat through it, but that was the moment I realized
It's
you
okay,
never
man.
cared about me.
Don't
You
worry
just
about
wanted control. So this is it. I'm done. I'm not carrying this anymore. I'm not letting your version of the story be the one that plays in my head. You don't get that power. You were a bad friend. You hurt me, and I'm fine.
That's crazy, bro. Let's say you were like mean to somebody, right? Let's just say you were a terrible person to somebody. Yeah, and she was a snowball. Okay. Let's say you were a terrible person to somebody, right, bro? And then you're like, man, yeah, that was that was crazy. I shouldn't have been that way. And then you reformed, you changed your life, right? And then weeks later, no, not weeks later, like months later, somebody gets called out for doing some crazy stuff, and you're like, dang, that's probably how that other girl felt. Dang, that sucks. And then out of nowhere, they bring you out, and they're like, man, Brian's a terrible person. He did it. I'm just like, oh, shoot, hold up, man. Listen, I was, yeah, but gosh. Like, all that, and you just get hit. Like, Brian got hit with a stray. He's like, dang, oh. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I was a terrible person back in the day, but I ain't like that no more. It's too late. You can't say that. Ah, man, that sucks. But I mean, I don't know the girl. She probably still like that.
Really letting it go. So tell the next group of people you run through how horrible I am. Because honestly, I'm done. So
I'm a
Mara
new
MMP
man.
says, good
Exactly.
job, Lex. You've held this in for too long. It is unfair when people can hurt you and get away with it. And Lex says, I should have spoken up sooner, and I should have done something before almost a year passed.
But her
I
mental
just
health.
had a hope that maybe her behavior would change, but she's still the same person.
Okay,
Far
she's
Cry
still the
says,
same person
I'm
in
so
art.
proud of you for speaking up, girl. I've had my own experiences with her, and I'm glad somebody spoke up. Because of Lex's post, a lot of other people felt confident coming forward with their experience as well. So Rachel Pop Venus writes, I said I never do this, but I'm tired.
Listen, I understand, by somebody doing it gives everybody the courage. But imagine Imagine. Oh my god.
I too have kept my mouth shut for a long time. I know we have mutuals vanilla beans, and I genuinely hope they don't share my experience. I truly hope they have found the positive side and something real because what I have known of those people is that they are genuine and good humans. Through our friendship, though, I, however, could not take the two-faced crap talking, the constant me or them with our mutual friends, which always came as a result of something you had done to embarrass yourself in front of them that you responded to with anger. I chose to quietly distance myself, even saying I would continue to support you, but at the end, I had a breaking point. The constant, I befriend people who are friends with people I want to be close to, followed by a, how many degrees am I from Shy Lily stream that first felt like a joke, until you mentioned a mutual and went into detail about your plans to use them. It just made me question if your motive for reaching out to me all those months ago was to use me. For what or who, I don't know. Maybe no one, but I didn't like how it made me feel. I chose just to disengage and move on with my life. Except you wouldn't let me. Every so often, someone would come out of the woodwork. Oh, Vanilla Bean said you were a horrible person, so I blocked you. Why? What the F did I do? Every so often, I'll find somebody randomly who has me blocked or banned from their stream, and my only assumption is that must be the reason since I see their mutuals with you. I try to stay out of the drama, but I need to get this off my chest because yet again, someone else has come forward telling me they were told by you I'm a horrible person. I truly hope you find peace and genuine friendships with people who you don't just view as a rung on the social ladder to climb. I hope the people you have in your life who do see you as a true friend have that same energy returned. So Lex comments, I appreciate you also speaking up about her behavior.
All
I
this
just hope that she
VTubers,
eventually
right?
grows up. My empathy can only go so far. And Rachel says, that's understandable considering I know you were much closer to her and watching the way she
I
treated
don't know
you.
about this VTuber stuff, bro. I don't know if I want to get involved. I don't know if I want to get involved in this world, bro. This is crazy. Like, all of them are going through it. All of them are going through it. One happy thing with some VTubers. It's like something about mental health, something about docs, something about um like drama like this. Like they all two face. Not all of them, but a lot of them are two face. Come on now, what?
On stream sometimes, I'm sure it was no better behind closed doors. Then Helia adds, following up from what two others, Lex and Rachel, I wanted to make a proper statement addressing Vanilla Beans. I was originally going to keep this to myself and hoped it was an isolated incident, but after hearing their stories, I wanted to bring forth my own as well. We were quite close at the end of last year and the start of this one, but I chose to distance myself after I noticed toxic traits in her behavior. We were still in one group, but ultimately we had to let her go due to stories of bullying other creators came up. There are many who would like to stay anon, and I am not one to tell their stories, but after hearing them, a lot of things clicked together. She used to stream other VTuber Twitter accounts to me on Discord and talk about how they gave her trauma and are bad people, including Lex and Rach. She would share a blacklist of creators who she claimed were horrible people, but in reality, it was just people who didn't follow her back or she had hurt in the past and didn't want me to know about them. From the start, it seemed like she was socially anxious and was desperate to find friends. But after her telling me how she follows VTubers and unfollows them if they didn't follow her back or answer her DMs, I noticed she was using people for her own success and how obsessed with numbers she is. She would say things like, oh, she's only big on Twitter and her streams don't even reach X average viewers, which made me really insecure about my own streaming and numbers. I saw that she just wanted to reach partner even if it meant at the expense of her own friendships. After I got really sick and couldn't stream for a month, it felt like she completely lost interest in me and was almost gaslighting me into thinking that I was the problem and that I was not reaching out to her when she knew that I was very sick and almost went to the hospital. She would even tell me that I see her more as a coworker than an actual friend, even though it was not true. I was trying to reach out to her and organize a day where we could hang out while getting art pieces for her and for her debut. That's projection, guys. I'm telling you. Like, if people are telling you, like, weird accusations like, you're using me, or you see me like a coworker, could be because it's true, or it could be because they're projecting onto you their own thoughts, beliefs, actions, etc. But you gotta kind of like smell out which is which. I'm just sad to see that people she was talking to about her giving trauma and being bad people turn out to be the ones hurt by her. And I'm just now questioning how many on her blacklist have been hurt by her. If anyone ever finds me on her list, this is me saying hi and why I guess I was there. I just don't support clout chasing behavior and dropping people off when they have given you numbers on your stream so you don't need them anymore. If anyone would like to see the blacklist, please DM me. I don't feel comfortable posting it with all the names publicly since I don't know if everyone is comfortable. Okay, by the way, I kept pronouncing their name like L or Ellie. Basically, I know somebody IRL that spells their name this way but pronounces it Ellie, And then I also know a lot of people pronounce it L, so I'm just used to calling this spelling Ellie because of the person that I know. Ellie says, I am so sorry you had to go through this, and my heart goes out to Lexicon and Rachel Pop too. I know I wasn't close with this person, but as somebody who thought they were really sweet and had a lot of motivation to support them, I'm a little appalled that behavior like this started so early and is carrying into their career as if it's the normal choice, when it's not normal to treat
And I'm not
other
gonna be able to
creators as
trust
enemies.
nobody, bro. Like all the people that come out the woodwork, they're like, "Oh, you're doing VTubing? Oh, we should be VTubing buddies." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, why not?" And then they all two face. I'm like, "Dang, what the heck is going on?" Then next you're gonna know, Bry's gonna see my name on a list on a video. They're gonna be like, "Oh, well, Zoe, he's a new VTuber going around, and and there's a whole bunch of controversy." I'm like, "Hold up, what?" I don't know about this, man. I don't know if this is for me.
And give friends ultimatums like this. I'm so effing sorry. No one should value others based on their followings. CCV, friendships in the space are worth having, and people abusing that and making the friendships to be something superficial should be held accountable 100%.
I feel like
Sending
not my
you
boy.
all so
He's
much
like,
love
"No,
and
they
light."
won't.
And Helia says, thank you. We have another call out. So this is
Yeah, I can't, man. I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, yo, bro, man. You know what happened was, man. This is why you don't. This is why you don't join these discords, man. You go see my name on one of the discords in the thing. They'll be like, hold up, is that? Wait, I believe that's." Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know, man.
by Mara Eventry, and Mara writes, there have been something I need to get off my chest, my experience with vanilla beans. And this one actually went viral with 1.8k likes. After hearing others speak up, I decided it was my time to share my personal story with vanilla beans. The remark is not intended to incite hatred or harassment towards anyone, but rather to honestly communicate my personal experience and thoughts in the interest of clarity, accountability, and peace of mind. In August of last year, I encountered a situation that had a significant impact on my ability to feel comfortable and safe in the content creation area. After an initial period of neutral private and public contact, I unfollowed Vanilla Beans as part of a routine follower cleanup, a technique I openly promote among friends, especially when timelines diverge in tone or topic. Shortly thereafter, I realized that I had been blocked on Twitter while attempting to share her with a friend who was looking for collabs. While this surprised me, I respected her decision and felt the situation was resolved. Follower cleanups is so normal in the VTuber space, and in anybody who uses social media, you'll unfollow people whose content you don't really consume anymore.
Mhm.
But I feel like in the VTubing space, they just take it really personally. Later, I decided to communicate privately over Discord to describe how the unexpected blocking made me feel. I then chose to block her there as well, preferring to establish distance gently and respectfully without bringing the situation to the public attention. To my dismay, shortly after, Vanilla allegedly made comments about me during a Twitch stream that I felt clearly pointed towards my identity, without naming me directly. This happened immediately after our private communication finished. While I won't speculate on intent, the time and context made me feel targeted and uncomfortable. Viewers from her stream, as well as others friendly with her, later harassed me online. I have saved important messages and a clip from the stream for my records and will release them upon request. In addition, Niara quote retweeted me, which provoked public anger. While this added to the visibility and pressure I experienced at the time, I want to be clear that I do not blame her for standing up for her friend or doing what she believed was right. We all respond to situations with the information and loyalties we have, and I respect that. My worry is not with her specifically, but with the greater trend of how internet attention intensifies sensitive issues, leaving people feeling targeted or overwhelmed. While I tried to move on privately, the lingering effects of this incident have had an influence on my mental health and trust in professional connections in the VTuber and streaming space. Recently, as more people have spoken out about their own Vanilla Bean experiences, I felt obliged to share mine, not out of a desire for controversy, but in the aim of contributing to a more transparent and safer creator environment. I've also been told, again through word of mouth, that there are allegations of Vanilla making racially insensitive remarks in private calls. I must emphasize that I have not personally witnessed anything and have no tangible evidence. I share this only to contextualize why others may have chosen to distance themselves as well. To be clear, I am not seeking retaliation or drama. I do not support harassment or brigading in any form. I only wish to add my voice to a conversation that has already begun to protect my own mental health and to express support for others who may have been similarly affected. Thank you for reading. Please be respectful to everyone involved and understand that creators are people first. And then, so Roderick adds, I support you and Vanilla Bean, so I'm torn and I'm sorry it came to this. I appreciate that you made an effort to sort this privately, and I hope that making this statement has gotten some weight off your shoulders. I wish you the best, Mara. I love you. And Mara says, I never expected to actually speak on it. I was resigned to hold on to it and ignore it for the rest of my life. But when all of these people, mutuals or not, started speaking up, I knew I had to as well. She was reckless with me, she didn't cover her tracks like with everyone else. I have proof and I refuse to be silenced any longer. So then Mara adds, thank you again Lexicon, Rachel, and Helia for giving me the strength to finally speak on this. Then Mara adds, this got way bigger than I ever expected it to be, so my proof documents will be here from here on out. My timestamp for the VOD is in the proof images document. So we have the statement. So this was the message from Mara to Vanilla August 8th, where Mara says, I noticed you blocked me on Twitter after I unfollowed you during my recent follower cleaning. I figured it would be fine because we're already friends on Discord, but I suppose not. I don't feel comfortable with you anymore, so I'll block you here too. Have a good one. And then this was the quote retweet by Niara, where Niara says, imagine unfollowing your friend on Twitter and having your feelings hurt because they blocked you. Kind of weird to boast about it here as if you're in the right. I'll gladly ruin my opportunities with you as well. Stop being a pick-me and do better. Another comment as well. So we have the VOD for around 24 minutes.
This isn't
Yeah,
like
Vanilla spilling tea right now.
spilling tea. This isn't like subjective drama. Like, this isn't drama where it's like, oh, she said this, he said that. This is like you cannot misinterpret these things. They tweeted, if I just unfollowed you, L. And when I see those posts, I always check. And usually they don't unfollow me, because why would they? Why would people unfollow me? But I checked this time, and she actually did unfollow me, which I thought was actually crazy, because I did think we were friends, like, kind of. We were just mutual. We weren't really close, but we did talk once, so it's not like we had never talked, and she did tweet she wanted to be my friend. Anyway, I see it, I'm like, oh damn, that sucks. Whatever. It really didn't hurt that much. Again, we weren't like friends in my eyes. So I blocked them because, I don't know, they unfollowed me. I just
You
Right.
blocked them?
just blocked them. I don't know. It wasn't a big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, it really wasn't that big of a deal. I just blocked. There was no like second thought behind it. It wasn't like a wahaha. I didn't expect them to even see that I blocked them. It was really not a big deal. It wasn't like a big block thingy. Anyway,
Right.
but I did go back to their tweet to see why they might have unfollowed me, and they did say I unfollowed people that were following some bullshit called endwokeness. I don't know what that is. I don't think they meant me with that, because I don't know what that is.
I mean, just kind of sounds like some petty unfollow drama. The blocking, unblocking stuff happens all the time. Ludmilla posts, as somebody who has known Mara for a while, this is something that has been weighing on her. To purposely send your audience to attack somebody is not okay. Please send Mara your support at this time. Next up, we have Dark Eye. So Kai writes, regarding my experience with Vanilla Beans. I met Vanilla before I was a VTuber back when I was streaming on a different account. I had a good following on Twitch, but had been on a hiatus at the time. It felt like once she became aware of the fact that I was a streamer, it felt like she began flirting with me pretty intensely. She never said this to me directly, but I'm pretty sure it's because of the amount of followers I had on my other account at the time. I admit I flirted back and fed into it. I had really appreciated the attention at the time. Looking back now, I feel embarrassed. We were doing a collab which Lex was involved. During that collab, she treated all of us horribly. She was very controlling and extremely abrasive towards us during intervals, to a point of bringing some members of the collab to tears due to her behavior. All because she was upset by our gameplay. She tried to control the entire session, and I will attach a clip from that stream to this thread. Once I came into my new identity and rebranded as Darkai with all brand new socials, she began to disengage with me. It felt like she realized with me starting back over from square one with 0 followers, she wasn't interested. I only spoke with her maybe once or twice more after my rebrand, and it felt cold and distant. During my debut, despite claiming she wanted to help and support me, she got angry when it was suggested she raid me during my debut. Please know I'm not upset by not being raided by her. I genuinely don't care. What I'm upset about is the anger she expressed towards my friends over a suggestion that she supports me. Who she rated was entirely her choice, and again, I'm not mad about it. I'm just hurt and sad that she so easily dismissed me after claiming she wanted to help me, and making me feel like I was her friend. I felt like she only wanted to be a part of my life and support me based on my follower account prior to my coming out. After that, it felt like I was of no value to her and just dropped, and that's what truly hurt me. And for her to add me to her blacklist on top of that, which very well could mean I lost connections with certain VTubers I might not have the chance to get back, also really stings. Please don't send any hate her way. That's not what I intend to do with this post. It's purely for peace of mind.
Yeah, on the floor. On the floor. Do you see it here? Do you see it here on the floor?
Wait, the door's open, guys.
Do you want to take it?
Dark guy! Oh! Sorry, I'm getting...
What?
Sorry, I can't stand when people don't do what I say. I'm so sorry. There, almond water. Drink.
What an odd thing to
What
say.
the
Literally, I can't stand when people...
What the heck? This girl started tweaking. Hold up.
Oh! Sorry, I'm...
Wait, the door's open, guys.
Do you want to take it?
Dark guy! Oh! Sorry, I'm getting...
What?
Sorry, I can't stand when people don't do what I say. I'm so sorry. There.
What? She physically couldn't handle it. She was like, Yo, Bri. Nah, man. I can't. I can't. I think nah. I mean, it's not this person, but it's one of the other VTubers. The masculine, yeah, exactly, right. It's one of the other. Like she said, she literally. What? I gotta go back, man. I gotta.
Intend to do with this post. It's purely for peace of mind.
Yeah, on the floor. It's on the floor. Do you see it here? Do you see it here on the
Yeah.
floor?
Wait, the door's open, guys.
Do you want to take it?
Dirk guy! Oh! Sorry, I'm getting...
Why?
Sorry, I can't stand when people don't do what I say. I'm so sorry. There, almond water. Drink.
What an odd thing to say. What do you mean I can't stand when people don't do what I say? What? That's weird.
Oh
Mara
my
comments, thank you
gosh.
for always being there, Kai. And Kai comments, heart, heart. Helia says, this should never be okay. Flirting with someone just to gain something out of you, I am so sorry. Area VT adds, I was mutuals with them for a while. They did a rating
Oh
stream
my
and didn't even
gosh.
recognize me and low-key mocked my name because every VTuber with this name has white hair. It really left a bad taste in my mouth. Whee! Look, he's a unit of a cat. Look how big he is. Area continues, it left a really bad taste in my mouth. I'm sorry this happened to you. I guess true colors eventually come out. I ended up changing my name because that's how bad it made me feel. Like no one would ever notice me. Other people in the comments are adding their side as well. So Shiori adds, so sorry you had to deal with this. The kind of energy she gave off in that clip. I've had that before in collabs too. She would get mad if things weren't going the way she expected, which always rubbed me the wrong way. You and the others are very brave for coming forward. And Ellie says, my heart dude, incredibly disappointed as somebody who wanted to support this creator. Please support Helia, Lexi, and Rachel, as well as anyone else who may come forward. They don't deserve to be treated the way they were. This should not be a standard practice for anyone. Friends are not stepping stones to success. I'm going back to bed. Reminder to never idolize people you literally never know. We have another person who came to me with their experience with vanilla. I will keep the name redacted, but if they
What
do
the heck? She got
choose
different hair?
to have their
Or
name
am I
kept in
tripping?
here, I'll put it.
She have different hair, or am I tripping? Oh, she does. What the heck? What's up with people doing all this?
I will keep the name redacted, but if they do choose to have their name kept in here, I'll put it on screen. But they reached out to me and said that they met Vanilla during a collab and they hit it off super well, that Vanilla seemed super sweet and they liked them, and they ended up collabing and talking in DMs. That they didn't know Vanilla for very long, but it felt like they were becoming good friends. However, about a month ago, after a collab, Vanilla kind of went in on them. This VTuber was on Vanilla's stream playing Outlast Trials on a day they didn't stream. So one of their friends came in and lurked, and according to the VTuber, the friend is really sweet. And then Vanilla was weird. So after the stream, Vanilla wanted to talk to the VTuber about this friend and sent a screenshot from Mix It Up showing the amount of times that friend has been in Vanilla's stream and was upset the friend didn't lurk. The VTuber was just trying to defend their friend, saying, oh, she's probably busy or she probably had too many streams open to count as a viewer, and it made Vanilla more mad because the VTuber was not agreeing with Vanilla. Vanilla then went in on the VTuber about somebody they were following on Twitter that she doesn't like, and Vanilla ended up calling the VTuber some names that really shocked them. Vanilla told the VTuber that they were spineless and that they hated spineless people and that they were a Nazi sympathizer for following the person. The call
What
ended
the
with
heck?
Vanilla telling them that they needed to listen to her and think about the people they surround themselves with, or they were gonna get canceled. And the VTuber cried after the call because they felt like it was just a crazy switch that flipped. And then today, a friend told the VTuber that Vanilla had told her on stream while playing Marvel Rivals that the VTuber was a sympathizer witch. The VTuber freaked out because one, it's untrue, and two, that is crazy bad to call somebody. That is a huge accusation, by the way, to make towards somebody. And the VTuber is just too scared to say anything because they don't want to be attached to drama, but this is just kind of happening. So this is the message from Vanilla to the redacted VTuber, showing the friends in the Mix It Up bot that they were following for about 3 months. And Vanilla then says, I am sorry, VTuber, it shouldn't have gotten that deep. I got kind of annoyed that you were making excuses for the friend's behavior, and I felt invalidated in my feelings. Then it just carried over to the powder situation. You can do whatever you want, it's none of my business. I'm really sorry. I didn't want you to think I was mad at you because I'm not. I tried to prove a point and I went too far. You know, okay, this is a bit of a hot take, guys. A little bit of a hot take, okay? But I feel like too many times in these drama situations I cover, the perpetrator is like, you didn't consider my feelings. I felt my feelings were invalidated. Your feelings are invalid because you're kind of crazy, bro. Like, if you're feeling mad that this person didn't lurk your stream, and then what? The VTuber is giving really valid excuses to try to calm you down. Like, oh, they're probably busy. Or maybe it was taxing their CPU to tab too many streamers, so you just couldn't make the list. It's chill. Calm down. And you freak out. You're like, my feelings are hurt because they didn't lurk my streams. do you know how entitled you sound right now? And then you're mad, so then you start accusing the VTuber of being a Nazi sympathizer. Again, this is a whole side thing about Twitter, but a lot of Twitter will like get mad at people for following people. We're like, this person was accused of this and you follow them, so you must support their beliefs. Guys, it can be true that like if you follow a whole bunch of people that sympathize with alt-right, that you probably align with those values, but have we also considered the other side, that maybe they just aren't chronically online, so that the other account, whatever, made one post that was sus and they weren't online, so they just never saw it? Have we considered that that could be possible? So just following somebody isn't a smoking gun, and I feel like Twitter just doesn't know that. Now, if the VTuber was like actively commenting under sympathizing posts, being like, yeah, I agree with you. Okay, now we have a smoking gun. We know they align with those values. Can we just give benefit of doubt? And a lot of times, people aren't on Twitter 24/7, and they probably, benefit of doubt, didn't see the one funky tweet. I think we didn't think about that. But this vanilla person's behavior is absolutely wild, because why are there so many accounts of this VTuber being an absolute mean girl to so many people? And we've heard this way too much now of, you didn't do what I say. I hate calling people crazy because it feels very disrespectful in a way to say that, because typically it's more nuanced than that. But vanilla sounding crazy, you cannot control everybody.
You can call
you
people crazy.
Control the actions and behaviors of those around you. And in my opinion, it should not bother you as much as it does if people don't behave the way you want them to behave. And I think it's weird to want people to act in a certain way. I'm not talking about, hey guys, I hope we all advocate for like trans rights, like I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about the, you should have played Phasmo in this specific way, or you should have played Repo in this way, like why didn't you like take 2 steps here? That's weird. And again, with the call with that VTuber where Vanilla was like, I was upset because you didn't do what I say. If it's triggering you this much that people aren't behaving in the way that you expect them to behave, it's like the saying, if it smells like shit everywhere you go, you should check under your own shoe. And I truly, and I'm not trying to say this in a condescending way, you do need to seek help if this is how you're acting, because the world just doesn't work like this. And this looks to be the final document. This is posted by Kylap's writing, seeing others come out with their pieces. Here are my plus Kirikage's experience with Vanilla Beans. Kylap says, I never had much of a personal connection with her. Didn't have anything as bad as others, but I feel I should still share my funny doc. This looks to be the final document. So Kylap writes, so before I begin, I would like to say please go send support and love to those coming out with their statements before this. I wasn't as directly hurt, mistreated, and what have you as several others, because I didn't have much of a relationship with Vanilla Beans outside of mutual interactions. I don't know if this may give a bit of a different perspective from some of what I've seen so far. With most people coming forward, they appear to be people who were seen as ones with a value that would later be discarded. Whereas I started off baseline as nothing particularly worth one's time. Of course, there will still be similarities to others as well. Kylap's continues, on another note, I have a tendency to write a lot more than I usually need to because I'm bad at simplifying, so I do apologize if this turns into a long stretch. Going forward, I'll refer to Vanilla Beans as V for short. I had a second name put under an anonymous letter. However, Kirikage said I should share his name in my document, so he will be listed as Kagi. I will open with my few interactions with Vanilla before the funking interaction, then write about the actual interaction after. Interaction 1. Alright, so Vanilla, I was part of a VTuber group and befriended a handful of creators involved. We would collab a bunch, play a handful of games. I don't recall how frequently myself and Vanilla played together. It wasn't much, but there were at least a few. When we did play together, I acted as I do with most people, being a silly goober, not taking things seriously, but staying relatively on track. Everyone responded typically the same, positive and laughing, except for Vanilla.
I think it's
now,
pretty
that
good.
in itself is fine. No harm if not everyone shares the same sense of humor or outward enjoyment in everything you do. However, if I ever did crack jokes, she would try to dismiss it, tell me how my bits were unwarranted or wrong to make, relatively innocent and appropriate bits, telling me to hurry up or just to remind me that there's a certain way I should be doing X, Y, and Z. She showed a strong sense of wanting to have things follow in how she wanted them to.
This might be cool. If I were to have the background, right? Have no lines. If it had no lines, just shadows, like just shapes, but the characters have lines, that might be really cool. That might be really cool. I don't know. Wait, her lips. I kind of want to take off the lipstick. And I kind of want to make Jin smaller. Let me actually adjust this. Clean it up a little bit. Interesting idea, right? That's what I was thinking. I was wondering. But like this table leg thing, instead of it, obviously I'll do harder shadows, I think. So I'll just do, like, just block out these shadows. Well, that one wouldn't do that. Everything. Hold on. Let me just erase every shadow. I'm gonna use this for now just so I can see those edges. Hold up, yeah. Right here. Right here. TV. I was thinking of turning on the TV, but what's the point, man? Just shapes. Ooh. And the floor carpet thing should be in shadow too. Everything should be in shadow. But I was thinking also of doing like a slight little blur. Oh crap. Maybe. And then like the carpet, I should add a little bit more fur to it to make the carpet look a little bit more detailed. I don't know, man. I really do need to work on drawing backgrounds though. Like with characters in them.
B, relatively straightforward and on task, and you start to deviate or get silly, she would get rather upset. It would put me off a tad, but to be respectful after noticing a pattern, I try not to be too random with bits and keep it more leveled out while occasionally being silly. I recalled in content warning a bit back, I was the cameraman, the person tasked with the most important job of filming stuff in game, so we could win and progress further. She kept pushing that I really need to focus and be on task with my camera work, and having short vocal fits that she'd cut herself out for, because I would turn my focus to something else for a few seconds. Now, this isn't an end-all be-all of a person. I've known people who take some games seriously and want to follow in a general tone, typically in more intense games where communication is important. But with how the tone of this specific stream was before, we had a bigger lobby in this instance that was a lot more unhinged and wild. Things were pretty unserious and goofy. When we had to drop down to 4 people due to connection issues with the lead host and so many extra bodies, we still had sillies, but on my own end, I was starting to feel I couldn't play how I had been for that stream, and I started treating it like I had these set expectations on me, and how I was disallowed to express myself as I had been previously. Though during the time, the other 2 who Vanilla and I played with went around, were silly, not that serious, and played around. but she didn't say as much to them on how they were handling the stream. Again, this isn't all that terrible, it's just a tad bit unfun. Instance 2. The date is April 28th, 2024. Oh hey, it's been over a year now. Lexicon and Vanilla are hosting a VR chat dating show with a handful of VTubers. I joined because I thought it would be a fun experience. We went through the whole ordeal that the streams ended. Most people left with only 5 or 6 remaining. I think it was about a year ago, forgive me if details are unclear. There was myself, Vanilla, Kage, and however many others in post. We were all sat having talks about general life things, streamings, relationships with the people around us, or who weren't present. Then Vanilla started to get very emotional. I don't remember exactly what all she went on about, but I believe she talked about how much she cared about relationships, struggled with making friends, maintaining relationships, and what have you. You know, very emotionally driven care and want for a positive social environment. A lot of us comforted her and voiced our own personal bits. Then after some time, the party dropped to 4 people. Vanilla, Kage, Jay, they don't play much of a role in the story, but I'll call them Jay for now, and myself. We hung out for a tad bit more as 4, then Jay went to play around with the VR chat world's radio music. Myself, Vanilla, and Kage moved around the area chatting. It was a closed indoor world, so there was only so much to explore, and things were all right. Typically, she would really push on convos with Kage, and I would sometimes chime in with my own piece or start the odd dialogue here or there. After some time, Vanilla needed to step away, so Kage and I sat and talked about more life things for a fair amount of time while standing around AFK Vanilla. Mid-convo, Kage and I noticed that Vanilla was starting to move again, so we turned to her while talking, and one of the first things she said was basically, "Kylabs, I need you to go away. Like, leave. Go fuck off, just fuck off." And I was really taken aback by that. I believe she needed to talk to Kage about something privately, so I thought, alright, it might be an important personal thing, I'll go for a while and let them do their thing. Not the most respectful way to ask somebody to step away, but it is what it is. Now, I wasn't informed till months later that Vanilla was apparently very obsessed with Kage throughout the dating show, and had clung to him a lot. I don't know what it is they talked about in this time, or if she just wanted one-on-one time with him. After that, I went off to find Jay. Jay was hanging out by the radio still, and was also checking things out outside of the game. There wasn't much going on, so I decided to walk around the map a few dozen times to entertain myself. I'm nocturnal, and I don't believe I slept before the stream,
Tony,
so
what's
I was
good,
running
man?
off of 24 plus hours of being awake. I only stayed around because I wanted to hang out with people, but one was doing their own thing, and the other 2 were having private talks. I roamed for a solid bit of time, looping the map dozens of times, trying to entertain myself and stay awake. After roaming around the map, I was at a wall space where I could hear Kage and Vanilla talking, and they're just talking about casual, normal things. I poked my head nearby where they were, but I felt they were still having one-on-one, so I went back to Jay for a bit. Jay eventually left the radio area, and we ran up to Kage and Vanilla. After a short chat, Jay left the game. I was back with the pair, and we continued our walk and talk to another room. Now, at this point we were chatting, but after coming back, I felt very much like a third wheel. We would start a convo, and Kage would give his input on the convo. Vanilla would give her input.
Not too
I
bad,
would
can't
give
complain.
Vanilla would switch the topic, talking directly to Kage. Kage would give input. Vanilla would speak more. I would start speaking with.
Wait, why? There's a female. Are you talking about this one on the left? Oh, reacting to this video. Some more VTuber craziness. Wait, let me see what you got. Let me see what you got. Alright, before I do that, I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Alright, I'm back. Let's see what you got, Tony. That shit, what you got? See? Oh, shoot. The Dreadman. Oh, dang. Before and after, so this is like a young version of him, and this is him now? Dang, this man looked like he went through some stuff in life, man.
Kage turning towards me, giving attention. Vanilla would then start speaking up with more sights while a mid-talk, then switched the convo to something else. It kept a lot of me getting cut off or not getting full points across, and Vanilla bringing attention back to Kage, wanting to learn more about Kage and getting the insights of him, while Kage himself will sometimes throw the convo back at me, letting me get some more points in. Of course, I did have times where I could speak normally, as I do in convos, but a handful of times I would be cut off by Vanilla, but I would never be cut off if Kage guided the convo back to me. And that was what I was talking about. One thing I considered during this was the possibility of a delay in voices, and maybe she would talk when I was silent, and that's what it kept happening. But with Kage reacting to me by turning when I started, and the fact I would be 10 plus words into a sentence before being cut off by Vanilla, she would be on time responding to Kage whenever he spoke, or the few turns to me when I spoke, a delay couldn't be the issue because there wasn't any consistency to it. So throughout the discussion, it felt as though Vanilla was only there for Kage, and me being present was so unimportant or unwelcome thing, for she just wanted to know everything about Kage. Now, Vanilla was very emotional not long after the streams ended, and she was talking about relationships with others.
Yeah,
making
so I was
friends, and
wondering,
what have you.
because
But after most people were gone,
it
she was
looked like a
basically
lightsaber
only there
type
for
thing.
Kage, and my involvement would constantly be dismissed so she could talk more with him personally. Even when he and I had our one-on-one, I was just told to go away the moment she came back. Again, I don't know what the reason for it was, if it was properly important or just wanting to have time alone with him, but I was basically
So we still doing the AI art video or a new one?
AI art video. Oh, this is this is a new one. I was wondering, what the heck are you talking about?
interaction so she could have hers.
This is about the
Eventually, we left
VTuber
VR chat,
drama
took
stuff.
our combos to a public Discord VC. The cutoff still happened, but much less frequently. It made me question if it was really a VR chat delay. Then parted ways, and that was the last time I ever interacted with her directly. This to me really sounds like Vanilla probably just had a thing for Kage, but again, how you treat people is very important, and regardless of whether you have a thing for somebody or not, like actively telling somebody to F off so you could kind of like hog that person and directly cutting them out of the conversation is very disrespectful. The doc continues. Final thoughts. Again, my own situation wasn't anything grandiose, and I probably wrote more than what was needed. But up until present day, in my almost 5 years of streaming, I never had somebody be so directly disrespectful towards me, and the experience left a sour taste in my mouth. I feel the difference I have with the handful of people so far is, many people were viewed as being of value to her and her growth. They would get tossed aside and talked bad about after. Whereas I feel with my low following and low stats in other fields, I was treated more so as somebody who was already so lacking in value, I wasn't worth the time to be given, and my inputs didn't matter. On top of that, with Kage, I wasn't worth the time either, because Kage was this amazing person that she had a lot more interest in outside of numbers. I don't care about stats, but he had lesser than me across platforms, as far as I was made aware. It's not as though I craved the attention, but rather I didn't want to be treated as an inferior because I had nothing to provide. At the end of the day though, what really bothers me is how she presented herself to the general public as this girly pop streamer who presents this super cheery, welcoming vibe. It promotes her want to make more friends. Meanwhile, at the end of the day, she heavily devalues those who can't benefit her, coordinates who she wants to get close to because of the clout and connections she can get from them, cuts anyone out once they reach the point where they can't benefit her much anymore, disagreeing with her decisions, then goes smearing those same people's good names and encouraging others to blacklist or block such over made-up stories because of drama that bore from her own decisions. This is taking into account stories I've heard from Twitter as well as externally. I don't know if this is making a mountain out of a molehill, but I would like to share it. For my story, it was more of a in-the-moment type of hurt, but not anything huge. Some months after it happened, I hopped into a VC with a handful of pals on Discord, and mid-discussion they brought up Vanilla again, after I'd not seen her in a long time outside of live on Twitch. They caught me up to speed on what they experienced with her, and I shared mine.
Crap,
I
this
checked her Twitter
happens so
profile,
much.
and things are pretty standard over there.
I'm gonna stop doing
Though I
that.
decided to stop following her. After a few months, I checked back to see if much had been brought up about her actions, and I was blocked. I never said anything to her after the dating show, so I assumed she either saw I stopped following and blocked me, or because I was a mutual from the same general group of VTubers she'd caused problems with, she blocked me. Regardless, it is what it is, but yeah, that was my experience with Vanilla. Anyways, proud of the folks who have come forward about their experiences with her. Obviously, this isn't meant to be an attack, but me saying, hey, multiple people have been treated poorly by this person for a long while, so I'll share my piece too. So Kiri Kage also has their experience at the end. They write, essentially what happened is, one, to really tell or be able to notice when somebody's acting more friendly, and so during the entire night, I thought it was more just friendly, and I kind of left it at that. But afterwards, I had gotten several DMs that were a lot more than friendly and kind of controlling. Those I had more or less brushed off as we had just met and had a collab stream with a few others coming up. In that stream, she said several demeaning and disrespectful things towards myself and others in the stream. After that, I left and didn't talk to her for a while until she reached back out to me probably about a month after, where she had gotten into a fight with a bunch of my friends. Though I didn't know that until she called me and then blew up on them and then demanded me to block them and blowing up on me when I said no. She then went on and said stuff on stream about me, to which I then blocked her. I've just had quite a few interactions like these in the community, that and the fact she always had to act sexual around me was super uncomfortable and unsettling. So this is actually, wow. This looks to be the end of the documents and stuff coming out as of now. This is being filmed on April 30th. But yeah, because of the whole Cinder situation, it has inspired a lot of people to come forward with their Cinder-esque experiences with other people in the community. So show love to all the parties involved. They absolutely deserve. So far, Vanilla hasn't.
Oh, she got Baymax in the back. Oh snap! All right, Baymax. I'm so confused. Yeah. So this was about some VTuber drama. And in conclusion, I think I ain't doing it. I might listen, bro. I still might wanna make a VTuber model thing, but I'm not gonna become a VTuber. It would just be a fun project to do, and learn how to do it. You know, just for fun. But I don't think I will be a VTuber. No. These are some people that are crazy. Not saying all of them. Not saying all of them are crazy. But some do beat. Some do beat. Oh no, this was born from the Cinder stuff. This was born from the Cinder stuff. Truly insanity. Artists I wouldn't be friends with. Hold up.
Hello, fellow drawers. How's it going? My name is Valerie. I am a self-taught digital artist. Now tell me, have you ever stumbled upon another fellow artist online or offline and thought to yourself, huh, I don't think I would want to be friends with them. I don't think we could understand each other. I don't think we would get along. Because even from the first glance, it's kind of apparent that my moral code and their...
Okay, never mind. I thought she was about to start, start going at people specifically. I mean, obviously. I think we can all guess that. Can't we, Bri? Can't we all agree to that? That's why the top VTubers are... The top VTubers do look pretty similar in proportions and such. Well endowed, yeah. Let's use that word instead. Hmm. Yeah. you have plans for the weekend? Man, I got a lot. I got a lot to do, man. I got a lot to do, Tony. I feel like we already saw this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we already saw this one. Oh, we saw that one too. That was sad.
Not having done enough of a background check is not an excuse this time. God, this is such a mess. On July 18th, Honkai Star Rail, which is a massive gacha game made by the same developer of Genshin Impact, which is Hoyoverse, made this tweet, which is showing off a character that will be releasing in the upcoming updates.
Tony. I mean,
this is something they do all the time.
I mean, is it better at least? Is it better at least? You just gonna be working, Tony? Yeah, as we all are. I thought Tony was gonna go do something big.
It's a gacha game made by the same
So we can live
developer of
through
Genshin Impact, which is Hoyoverse, made this
a little
tweet,
bit? All
which
right.
is showing off a character that will be releasing in the upcoming updates. This is something they do all the time. It's called drip marketing. It's to build hype, and they keep building hype up until the character comes out. In this case, the character's name is Mose, and he's a 4-star. There's usually a quote of the character, and then a little description of who they are. Things got tricky, though, when people saw who the English voice was. Chris Neosi. But not everyone was really aware. I would
Who's
even say
Chris
it's in the
Neosi?
minority. Many in the comments are very hyped, are praising the character's design, but there are some, like this one right here, saying, just Google his English voice actor, just wow Hoyo. Okay, let's Google him. Chris Neosi. Okay, great. Well, here's the thing. You scroll down.
Hold on. Let's go back because I want to see. Listen. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to continue this video only if the characters he voices aren't in my stuff.
Neosi. Okay, great. Well, here's the thing. You scroll.
Come on, I went back too fast.
Chris Neosi.
I gotta pause this on time. Right there. Let's see. Do I see any characters there? Nothing that I care about. Wait, hold up. Uh-oh.
Okay, great. Well, here's the thing. Yo,
I'm gonna have to put this in like 10 times or like 5, like I'm gonna have to slow this down. Cause I have to pause it right on time.
Okay.
I have to pause it right on time. Hold up. Okay, Mobster! Ow! Oh! Mob Psycho, huh? Should I continue this video, bro? It's a voice actor. Who has voice acted in Mob Psycho? Go ahead. Alright, man. Alright. I wonder what he did.
You scroll down and you go to page 2. You will find a Tumblr post in which he apologizes for committing heinous things towards his ex-partners, colleagues, and friends over the course, in his own words, over the course of 10 years. We're talking abuse, stalking, harassment, manipulation, you name it. And it's all self-admitted by himself. This used to be on the first page of Google. I'm not even joking. But it got replaced because of this Reddit post. And this leads me to the other aspect of this mess, which is such an implosion. The case of Chris is special because in this case, we have two high-profile voice actors from Honkai Star Rail and from the English dubbing community, and they both have come out to talk about this while having completely differing opinions. One day after the announcement of the character, a very well-renowned voice actor by the name of Alejandro Saab, aka Sayu, which is his VTuber persona.
Alejandro, what?
Very well-renowned voice actor by the name of Alejandro Saab.
Alejandro Saab? Alejandro, I gotta Google this man. I gotta see what he has done. Alejandro, how do you even spell that? Alejandro. Yo, I'm a beast! Oh, snap! Alright, what is he voice? Who have you voiced? This man's in My Hero? Who is he in My Hero? Who is he in My Hero? Who the heck are you in My Hero? Oh, he's just in the movie. Oh, okay. So he's not in the thing. Okay, so he did My Hero. He did Brian's RWBY. Uh-oh.
AKA Sayu, which is his VTuber persona, said that he just got back on Twitter and that he was going to have a serious talk on stream regarding this. It was very emotional, and he even ended up breaking down crying over this. I thought this was going to be the peak. It wasn't going to get worse than this. Guess
Alejandro
what?
was crying
The
on
voice actor for Sunday, someone you definitely know if you played Honkai Star Rail, and who doesn't use social media and stays off of Twitter except for professional reasons, made a Reddit post on r/Honkai Star Rail talking about this exact controversy. This post is currently sitting at 1,400 upvotes. It used to be higher, but it's been getting downvoted, and it was the first time many people were even hearing of this, okay? This is very serious because unlike the whole Diluc voice actor accusations, where there were holes in the story and many people found it hard to make up their opinion on it unless more proof came out, this right here is so different because Chris himself had made a post admitting to everything in his own words. And it is slowly making the entire community implode within itself. Let's talk about it. Christopher Edwin Neosi, otherwise known as Kerbifer online, is an accomplished voice actor, and he was in some pretty high-profile roles like Arataka Reagan from Mob Psycho 100. Additionally, he voiced the main character in Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Okay, I don't have to worry about that.
And had many other high-profile
Naruto
roles like Final Fantasy VII,
never mind.
Naruto Shippuden.
I mean, he was in one episode. I don't know who that was. That was just a random person.
Etc. He was an accomplished voice actor by all means. However, all of that came crashing down in 2019 when Chris was 30 years old. Overnight, many of his high-profile roles were immediately replaced with other voice actors, and he was pretty much excommunicated from the industry. This was a very big deal in the voice acting community. Nintendo didn't want to work with him anymore because he showed off the fact that he got cast in Fire Emblem in his Discord when he wasn't supposed to. But all the other roles he lost weren't because of that. They were because of a way more concerning problem. The real trigger for this entire controversy. But what has the ability to make someone as skilled as Chris to lose out on all these roles overnight? Well, it all started on Tumblr. Zero Incorporated made this post with the title, Chris Kerbifer Neosi is an emotionally abusive asshole, on July 16th, 2019. And this was, with no exaggeration, the beginning of the end for Chris, his career, and his reputation. Let's read. Chris Neosi is abusive and people need to know the truth about him. My name is Amy and I am, hopefully, his last ex-girlfriend. I dated him from September 2017 to April 2019 and it was a miserable experience to say the least. I try to be an open-minded person with an even more open heart, but that was a waste of effort because this man is a piece of shit and it is entirely his choice to be one. I knew Chris Neosi for several years, but I'm not going into the full history of our relationship.
My goat.
What matters is how he treats women behind closed doors and that he shouldn't be able to keep getting away with it. Overall, he was a shitty boyfriend, but sucking at dating isn't a crime, so I'm only going to talk about the things people deserve to know about him. She's pretty much saying like, yeah, dude, listen, he does suck at dating, all right? This is a fact, but it shouldn't be enough of a reason to hate him. So let me say what the things he actually did wrong. All right, let's get into it. So, number one, Chris Neosi has obvious anger management problems and would snap and blow up at the smallest things. He would tell me that's just how I am, and that I needed to deal with it. I hated playing Smash with him because I would win most of the time and he would rage and scream at the top of his lungs.
Oh my god.
Near the end of our relationship,
But listen, Bri,
I was fearful of his meltdown.
all we need to know is, like he said, Chris Neoki is the one who's doing all this. Reagan didn't do nothing. This man is over here just doing his thing. Helping out. I mean, but hey, actually, thinking about it, Reagan kind of similar to him. I'm playing. He like that.
Downs every day. Point two, he would try to manipulate me whenever I told him I had an issue with his behavior. I would tell him things like, I have to walk on eggshells around you, and he would turn it around and say, but I'm walking on eggshells around you, to try to make me out to be the bad guy. He always tried to avoid taking responsibility for shitty things he's done. Point three, Chris Neosi had no respect for my bodily autonomy. I have a full-time job, and when I came home from work, my only request was that he wouldn't jump on me the second I walked in. All I wanted was a little time to decompress from the day and get a shower, but he would grope me every single day despite my protest. I told him to please not do that many times. He would pout and argue and continue doing it anyway. Point four. Chris Neosi lied to me twice about how often he was communicating with his ex-girlfriend. I never had a problem with their friendship to begin with, and he told me, without any questioning on my part, that they only talked once a month. I eventually found out that was a bold-faced lie, and he was speaking to her every single day of our relationship.
Why does he talk to his ex?
He claimed he didn't realize how often...
This is the thing. I feel like you cannot, like, talk to, like, frequently, a person that you once been with. And I mean, like, let's say it was a childhood relationship, you know, how kids are, It wasn't really a relationship, really, right? Sure. But an adult relationship, y'all not friends after. Y'all could be cool and, like, if you see each other out, say hi, this and that. But you guys aren't on the phone. Y'all broke up. Y'all not together no more. And especially if you were with somebody else, oh, that's it. There's no communication. Even if I see you out, if we don't literally walk into each other, if I see you across the store, I'm going to see you, and I'm just going to keep walking where I'm going. I'm not going to go see you and say hi. No. We're not together no more. That's the end of this. I don't understand. Who am I trying to get to voice act the game in anime? Chris Sabat gotta be in there. What's his name? RP. Naofumi's character. I mean, the Naofumi voice actor, and the JoJo's Joe. What's his name? I can't remember. Man, RP to him, man. Great voice actor. What's her name? She does Gohan. Her, Killua's voice actor. Isn't it the same person? No, I don't think it's the same person. I'm literally trying to think about Killua's voice in my head. That's definitely not Gohan. But it's the other lady. Nah. No, Tony. It's over, man. Once again, we can be cool. If I see her out and we both make eye contact, I might give her a head nod, maybe shake her hand. But I'm not going to see her and then walk over there if she doesn't see me. You know what I mean? Even if she sees me, I'm not walking over to her. If we're like close, then I might say, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" No matter how good it ended, this is over. Especially if I'm in a relationship with somebody else. No. Because now you gotta imagine roles reverse. Imagine, right, Tony? You out with your girl, and then her ex, he walk up, he said, "Oh, hey, Sydney," whatever her name is, gives her a hug. And this is a guy that she, was with. Ain't no way, Tony. Nah. And the thing is, she better tell me, because I gotta know. Because ain't no way I'm gonna be in the place with somebody who she's been with and I don't know. Nah, Tony, nah. That ain't gonna slide.
And he was talking to her. Who would believe such was doing either? Point 5. I asked him to set boundaries with his ex, and he battled me so much that I asked him to cut contact completely. He fought tooth and nail to keep talking to her despite how much this was damaging me, and he even called me the unreasonable one.
I mean, why didn't she just
one
leave?
day out of the blue, and he came to my office to take me out to lunch, only to keep me hostage in front of my office building that I must give him my blessing to respond to her. He refused to take no as an answer and was shouting at me. I felt forced to say yes, even though I truly did not want to, or else he would continue making a scene in front of my workplace.
Why didn't you just leave him?
Dude, okay. Point 6. He complained anytime I wanted some time to myself. He gets so much more free time than me, and whenever I wanted some damn space, he would constantly try to butt in and grab
You know when she would have had free time? If she just left him. She would have been so free, she wouldn't even know what to do. If she just left, she would have been free. I mean, free as can be. If she just opened the door, went outside, closed it behind her, she would have, man, she would have been free. She would have been free.
I'm not spending time with him. I explained to him several times that I should be allowed to have just a tiny ounce of solitude, never listened. He was also jealous of my friends and would whine anytime I wanted to hang out with them without him. According to Chris, my world had to absolutely revolve around him and never deviate. Point 7. He once physically manhandled me in front of my friends at a get-together because I wanted to get a drink. I stood up and he forcefully pushed me back down and scolded me in full view of my friends. I was extremely embarrassed.
Dang.
Point 8. Chris Niosi made it extremely difficult for me to get to know his friends. I clicked with some of them and others I needed more time to hit things off. But that was a problem for Chris. He would argue with me every time we came home from seeing his friends that I wasn't trying hard enough and not talking enough. So many arguments. I could not for the life of me understand why he got so upset that I didn't meet his bizarre...
I'm not laughing at this video. Hold on. I'm laughing because I'm thinking, like, imagine dating a voice actor, right? Like, do they just... like, listen, Brian. You know Nicka Robin. Right? Nicka Robin is, And now I'm, like, thinking, hold up, though. Like, if I'm on the phone, right, and I call her, like, or she calls me, and she's talking like, Nico! Oh. Like, I mean... I'm like, wherever I'm at, I'm like, hey, everyone, give me a minute. what you talking about? Man, imagine. Brian, that might be interesting though. That might be interesting. I think I'm gonna. I might actually look into that. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh.
Our standards for communicating with his friends, it made every encounter with them more and more stressful to the point that I was too afraid to see them anymore. They did nothing wrong. This was entirely on him. Point 9. Worst of all, Chris Neosi was planning to sexually take advantage of me when I was very intoxicated on my birthday.
You know how many times I seen my ex in the market? Yeah, Tony, that's crazy. Oh, so see, this is why you don't. What is it? What do they say? This is why you don't piss in your. What do they say? What's the phrase? Like, you gotta listen, Tony. I understand it's convenience and everything to get with somebody that's near you, but if you can, try not to. Like, if she lives, like, if you live in like a big area, then what are the odds, really? But if you live in like a smaller area, or let's say she lives like right near, if it's in the same city, sure, same town, or like same complex, not complex, like same area, like if she's like walking distance, I don't know about that, Tony. I don't know about that. Imagine an interview for Frieza, and y'all argued it. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's just continue this, because now Zura's over here. Let me just continue this.
Last year, he even tried to tell a friend that he had implied permission from me when confronted about it, which is absolutely not true.
You see,
that only gave
right.
me confirmation he knew exactly.
Right, listen. I mean, everybody, listen to this. I just want to say this, all right? Nobody has the right to do anything to you that you don't want. Okay? Nobody. We agree on that. But the thing that is making me, like, because I hear this girl talking, and I'm like, but in my head, I'm just like, what's wrong with you? If all these things happened in one singular day, then okay. Man, this girl just said, every time she comes home from work, this man don't let her breathe. Okay? That's Exhibit A. This man grabbed her, pushed her down, said, sit down in front of her friends. That really was so embarrassing. Oh, really? This man tried to, when she was drunk and everything. Interesting. Why the heck are you still with this guy? I don't care what you say about, she probably felt like what? Felt like what? Get up and leave. The door was open. She just said, he came to my place of work, which means that she's not around him every day. Which means she can leave. But she decided to stay? And then now you're just like, oh, if something were to, of course, I know, you will forbid, something happened to this girl from this guy. At the end of the day, obviously what he did was terrible. But this girl just stayed the whole time. Why did you leave? Like I said, listen, I don't know. All this stuff could have happened in one day. It all could have happened in one day. So I don't know. I keep it moving. You gotta keep it moving, Tony. You gotta keep it moving.
Doing. Thankfully, I was aware at the time to tell him to back off, but it disturbs me to this.
Wait, what did she say? She said, thankfully, I was aware at the time to tell him to back off, but it disturbs me to this day that he saw me being drugged on my birthday as an opportunity. What the heck are you talking about? Why didn't you just... Because I'm like, the thing is like, after this day that he did that, I don't, like, how did she see him and not think, oh, this man has problems? Like, how did she not think he had problems? After that, she should have been like, oh yeah, this guy, oh yeah, let me leave. But no. So if he would have did that the next day, what would she be like? Oh, I can't believe no, you could believe, because he tried. Oh my gosh.
Day that he saw me being drunk on my birthday.
And hold up, this is one more thing I gotta say. It was like, He's so listen. This is one last thing I gotta say about this. And the thing that pissed me off is that I feel like this girl, like this encounter, right, is gonna make this girl get out of this relationship. I mean, she's obviously out of the relationship, and she's gonna start seeing all guys this way. And then I'm just like, hold up, Miss. No, that's not true. All guys aren't that way. Number two, you staying there messed you up even more. Because if you would have left right out the gate, you know, maybe time goes by, you met some other guy, that would have removed all that. But you stayed with him so long, you think that all this stuff is normal. Probably. I'm telling you, she could get in another relationship or not and just be on social media, on newscaster things and saying, all guys are so terrible because they do all this. I'm like, whoa, miss, you chose to stay when this guy was moving this like crazy. Brian, they're going to bring up that word again. I'm not going to say it. You know what word I'm talking about. And I'm like, you brought this to yourself, miss. You truly did. Because this wasn't like the first time. She said, she named every single thing that he did. And she just stayed with him. Like he had something on her or something. Like he got something on her for real. I don't know what it is, but he got something.
As an opportunity. Chris Diosi is a bad person and he knows it. He would tell me he was just simply oblivious to all his wrongdoings, but I refuse to believe it.
You see?
He doesn't get to claim ignorance and abuse women. Everything was intentional. I decided I had enough and moved on, and he tried every trick in the book to manipulate me into staying. After I broke up with him, he couldn't even respect me enough to give me distance. He was aggressive about taking me out to dinner and asked me out at least 3 times in the week after I dumped him. And he also had the audacity to ask me to be friends with benefits. Oh my god. No respect, no remorse. He knew exactly what he was doing at every turn. He chooses to be an asshole and will continue to do so until he dies. This man will never change. It's who he is, and he clearly prefers it that way. She then ends the statement by saying this: I have absolutely no reason to make this up. None. But you don't have to take my word for it. Just maybe consider the many words of many people when they say Chris Kerbefer Niosi is an abusive man who will continue to use and abuse other people. He needs to come clean about all the horrible things he has done. To those who want to give him another chance and hope to see him better himself, I sincerely wish you the best. I know I tried. Thank you for reading. Yeah, that's a lot to take in, right? See, this is why these things are so nasty, because you're pretty much being pushed into a private relationship of 2 people and are seeing all the ugly things that happen there. But granted, this isn't enough to take someone down. Not anymore, at least. People these days require more proof than just he said, she said.
100%.
This is why many people chose to not believe the person accusing the Diluc voice actor of committing the things they were accusing them of. There have been too many cases in the last few years where someone claims something and gets proven wrong, even after having done so much damage to the person they're accusing. And let's be real here. Who in 2019 would have seen this Tumblr post? Who even uses Tumblr anymore? This wasn't going to end his career outright. What changes everything here, though, as I mentioned before, is the fact that he admitted to all this. The next day, he just came clean. Chris made this post on his Kerbefer account, saying, "It's time that I apologize to all of the people I've hurt." Bear in mind, this post got deleted, right? The only reason you can see it is because it was reblogged by Ultra Eric the Red. And ironically, what shows up on Google on the second page is actually the repost from Eric the Red, right? Like, the post itself, if you copy the link and were to go to it, it says it's gone. And it just links you back to Kerbefer's profile. I don't know when he deleted it.
Why would he delete it? That doesn't make any sense.
All I know is that you can't
Why
find
did he
it
even
anymore
post
on his
it?
profile. So thank you to Ultra Eric.
That's so
Red
dumb
for
if you're gonna post it to
preserving this
delete
piece
it.
of evidence. This is a long post, but it's
I'ma
very
go
important
Ezo.
for you to understand every word in here, because this is why people are
Go
mad.
you up.
This is why people are very furious at Hoyoverse to have
Yeah,
cast
I
him,
gotta eat something.
even
I'm
after
starving.
5 years. This is him admitting that he has been a horrible person, not just to Amy, but many other people. He also makes it worse for himself with crazy statements like the first sentence. Let's read. My name is Christopher Niosi, also known as Kerbefer. I am 30 years old, and for about half my lifetime, I have horribly mistreated and abused friends, colleagues, and even my significant others. It is time that I addressed each and every one of those people and responded to their feelings with individual apologies for what I've done to hurt them. This will be a master post containing all of the appropriate posts in one location so that the people they have been written for, along with anyone else who wishes to read them, can easily access the information. I will provide a foreword about everything. My most recent ex-girlfriend Amy and I broke up in April of this year. She decided to cut ties in May, shortly after. Finally, on Saturday of this past weekend, she decided to create a call-out post detailing the emotionally abusive things I did to her throughout our relationship. I decided that the right thing to do was to take responsibility for my actions and respond publicly. I took 2 full days to write an apology to Amy for all of the things I've done and posted it on Monday night. The following morning, I was besieged by Amy, many concerned people who left comments of their own, as well as several of the victims of my abusive behavior in the past, to come clean and apologize to everyone I've hurt. I have finally decided to do so. Before reading any of these, I ask that to anyone and everyone who sees this, including those I'm apologizing to please allow me to put some things out there that are likely to come off as selfish, I feel are very important. I know that my decision to do this is inherently going to come off as a PR stunt or some form of damage control. While I can understand why people will think this, I want to assure you that it is not. This is not an attempt to preserve my career or livelihood or my social standings with anybody. I have accepted that by talking about all of these things, my life is going to change and there will be consequences. More importantly, this is not an expectance of any form of forgiveness either, as I will be stating many times in several of these apologies that I do not expect any of the following people to forgive me for all I've done. This is about finally, for possibly the first time in my life, doing the right thing. It may also, for the first time in my life, be the first real step I'm taking to change to become a better person. Guys, bear in mind, this is someone who's 30 years old, okay? These statements are coming from someone who's not 20. He is 30 years old, right? You realize how huge this is, right? For someone to say, this is the first time in my life where I'm doing the right thing. And no one forced him to do that. His ex Amy in her statement, everyone who's come out against him over the years, no one has forced him to utter the sentence. It's such a crazy thing to say. Anyway, he continues. Most of the people I have written these apologies to have had call-out posts regarding their personal negative experiences with me for the last several years, and they have gone publicly unaddressed by me. I also state multiple times in these apologies that I understand full well my choosing to respond to them now as opposed to when they were first posted is far too late and long overdue. There is no denying or excusing that fact, but here, now, I genuinely want to make amends for all of the horrible things I have done. I'm going to share something sensitive that is related to my decision to do this. Just as this is not intended to be a PR stunt, what I'm about to say is not in any way fabricated, nor is it meant to manipulate readers or instill any kind of bias. It is simply the truth and I feel is relevant. I have only ever experienced 2 times where I felt legitimately suicidal. The first time was 5 years ago, the week I moved to California, not knowing how to handle the shock of seeing call-out posts directed towards me, thinking my life was over and that there would be no way to survive, and that I should die as penance. So as I already mentioned, and as he mentions here for the first time, his ex-girlfriend wasn't the first post calling him out and seeking to expose who he was to the public. If he had chosen to ignore her post just like he had ignored all the other posts, then I don't think his career would have really been endangered. But it was too late for that now. He then continues, I survived it with the support of friends, but then I chose never to address the things that were said about me. They were people that were once my friends, significant others, people I looked up to, people who looked up to me, and all this time I stayed silent. However, the second time I felt suicidal was this past Monday night, a few hours before posting my apology to Amy. I had become so internally conflicted about if it was really the right thing to do or not. This time, not because of concern for it ruining my life, but because I wanted so badly to make amends and I didn't know if this would even be good enough. That if it was truly sign of me wanting to actually change for real. The pressure was a feeling I have never experienced in my entire life and I will never forget it. I overcame this feeling and solidified my decision with 100% certainty. I needed to speak from my heart, so I seized this newfound resolve and I went ahead and posted it. Please understand, the reason I'm sharing this information about my mental state is not in any way to garner sympathy or pity or appear as a victim. I am not the victim, I am the offender. I am sharing this information about the 2 moments I felt suicidal to illustrate that, while I haven't changed enough and it will absolutely not happen overnight, that the experience left a lasting impression on me that I am choosing to use in a positive way to really begin the change. I have wanted to become a better person for what feels like my entire life. It's not something that should be such a struggle, but somehow I've made it the most difficult thing in the world. I may have learned and developed and improved in some aspects, but not enough. The damage I've caused and the abusive acts I've committed towards people that I cared about is evidence of that. If I want to be a decent human being, this is all only part of the first step. I have a lot more work to do that I plan on diving into after I finish moving to a new house, but that's not the focus of this point. The point is, this is it. Taking responsibility for all the things I've done is only the beginning. If this entire thing is still just part of the first step, I want to do it right, no matter what it takes. So then, he links all the individual apologies he has made to people who have come out talking about him and their terrible experience with him. Now, according to Twitter and many Tumblr comments, this is barely scraping the surface, but for the time being, let's just pretend like these are all the people that he abused over the years. Because I want to show you the variety here, okay? So the first one's Amy, the person who made the post against him that we just finished reading, former girlfriend and employed editor. Then you have Tara Welker, former friend. Then you have Audrey Kerr, former girlfriend and employed animator. Then you have Kaylin Denton, former friend and actor. Filthy Animal.
I mean, I guess like, I get, because I'm thinking like he's dating all these animators, but I guess if you know you usually date the people that are around you, right? And if he's a voice actor, then he's gonna be dating people who are in the industry, you know. So okay, I guess. So, fellow animator, former fan. Oh, so she was a fan of his, and she animated. Former friend and actor, former girlfriend. Oh, wait, never mind. Oh, yeah. So his girlfriend was an animator. Okay. What the heck? I don't understand. Oh, so these are the people that he hurt. Some of them were friends. Some of them were animators and friends and fans. Okay. I was like, what the heck is happening here?
Former friend, John Markle, fellow animator and former fan. And then you have another former fan, Anthony Logato. So these people ranged from anything of being an ex-partner to a co-worker to fans, right? And of course, to friends. He then apologizes to his friends, his family, his fans, and says that he wants to use this space to cast an open call to anyone else that he's yet to address personally with a full apology. That he wants to do this until he makes amends with everyone he's affected over the years. And that he's not looking for forgiveness. He only hopes that he's taking the first true step to being a better person, and that he'll do his best to never let anyone else down or hurt anyone else he cares about ever again. So I have to mention this, right? Not only was this post deleted, I don't know when exactly, but it was deleted. Every single one of these individual apologies also have been deleted and don't exist anymore. For example, if I were to click on Amy's apology, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. But the internet does not forget.
Nope.
If I use the Wayback Machine, aka Web Archive, I can find every single one of these posts, and of course, every one of them is fairly lengthy. But for the sake of this video, I want to highlight one apology, right? You can check the other ones, I'm going to link them in the description, but I want to highlight one, which is the apology to his ex-girlfriend, the person who made the post we read initially, Amy. I think it's really important because it highlights who Chris is. He's going to do this whole apology, and then his ex-girlfriend will actually respond in a very brutal way to his apology, to which he'll reply again. He's going to get cornered, and you'll get to see how he acts when he is cornered.
Whose lore is this? Voice actor Chris Noisy as a voice actor, and it's pretty bad.
Because in the end, it's going to be up to you to decide. You already know the drill. Let's do this. He starts it off by saying, Amy, I failed you. No amount of apology I could ever give will ever make up for that. You were justified to leave me, and you were equally justified to cut ties with me. I was a terrible partner, and I made you feel awful. Thus, the absolute least I can do is to take full responsibility for my actions and respond to your feelings openly. I failed in treating you with real respect. You should not have had to put up with my childish temper day in and day out, and it's even worse than it made you fearful. It was never my intention to manipulate you, but that's no
Recent
excuse.
or old?
It was my fault you were made to feel this way. I should have
Pretty old. A few months ago.
taken more responsibility for my toxic behavior and changed. You did not at any point ever deserve to be treated that way because none of it was your fault.
I never heard of it before.
He then continues, I failed in listening to you. I deeply regret this because I feel I could have avoided so many of these problems if I had just really, truly listened. But I didn't. I wasn't there for you at a time when you needed me for emotional support over something as insignificant as a party and a long drive. I'm ashamed to have left my own partner alone when she asked me to be there for her. I was immature and selfish in how I never gave you enough of the space or personal time you needed, all while constantly bombarding you with my attention-seeking nonsense. My needy pining for not only your physical but emotional affection was so disrespectful, and the way I would immaturely express myself about it was pathetic. Most of all, I couldn't even respect your one request of me to lay off you when you would get home from work. I was supposed to care for you, and ultimately I acted spoiled and self-serving, putting myself before you. I failed at keeping your trust, the most important thing to me, the thing that our friendship was founded on well before our relationship. I ignorantly betrayed it. I never intended to mislead or keep anything from you, but it doesn't matter because a lie is still a lie, and I understand full well how much that hurt you. Once again, I was selfish and placed several other people's importance before yours, when you should have always been my number one priority. In addition, I could have and should have trusted you more in return. My jealousy and paranoia of your own life choices ran out of control. I should have been more supportive to the life you were forming for yourself and not been so obsessed with having you just be a part of my life and my friends and my world. I failed at making you feel loved. This is exemplary of my lack of respect, my lack of listening, and my lack of trust. I thrust you into a completely new environment out of your comfort zone, all the while thinking that I was helping you when in reality I was mounting utterly unnecessary pressure on you. I would embarrass you like a complete idiot in front of both your friends and mine. I wasn't patient or understanding. I was ignorant and unfair to you. The amount of needless arguments I sparked when I should have just been calm and inviting was ridiculous. This was entirely on me. I thought that inviting you into my life and everything that came with it would be a heaven, but instead all of my stupid actions made it into a nightmare. There is no excuse for the way I made you feel while you were living in what should have been a place of happiness. This is where it gets somewhat interesting, because he's talking about one of the worst things in his ex-girlfriend's statement, which is him taking advantage of her while she was drunk. He says, "There is one specific point that I wish to go into further detail on. Regarding what happened on your birthday, I never once believed I had any form of implied permission to do anything like that to you. Somehow this wasn't communicated properly, and I deeply apologize for that.
Wait, what?
I swear to you, I never thought that and never had any intention of doing such a thing.
Wait, is
Even
this
that
the one?
aside, while I know I have done a lot of horrible
Where
things,
is-
especially
oh,
to
this is
you,
this.
I also know that I did not and would never, ever in my life try to sexually take advantage of anyone. But the fact that the takeaway from what I hoped was going to be a really special day for you is something as heinous as that, I have no words.
Wait, what?
I am so sorry
I'm
that
confused.
I somehow gave you the impression that I had such intentions, and I'm sorry that I made you feel that way." Listen, I don't know why, but this just makes me laugh. I don't know, like, am I twisted? Am I crazy? I'm so sorry that I somehow gave you the impression, right? Like, like, look, there needs to be proof at a certain point when
So
you
he
are
did
making
do
such a
it.
big
He didn't do it.
accusation. But the fact that her perspective differs so much from his perspective in this regard is crazy, right? Like, it's not even on the same wavelength. From his perspective, there was nothing indicating this. From her perspective, it was very clear to her, and it was one of the main reasons why she ended up breaking up with him. It's just crazy sometimes how the two sides of the same story can be so different. We'll revisit this later when she replies. He then continues in the post and says, "With all of that said, the thing I'm most upset about is the fact that the impression I left on you by the end of our time together is that I never really cared about you. That, more than anything, is why I failed you. I have no reason to blame you for feeling that way about me, and I'm deeply ashamed that I drove you to this. I couldn't even maintain what I genuinely wanted to be a close friendship, to just be someone who'd at least be a positive influence in your life. Breaking your trust even further by asking something as ridiculous as if you wanted to be friends with benefits. But then failing further and further with every opportunity I had to be a friend to you. I can't believe I did this. Just as much as you can probably never forgive me for any of this, I too may never be able to forgive myself either." He continues to self-admit that even though it wasn't his intention, there is no obliviousness to claim here. And this is something he'll mention a lot, his intentions, right? It wasn't my intention to do this. It wasn't my intention to come off like this. Well, what were your real intentions, though? That's the question, right? Anyway, he says, "I knew what I was doing, but realized far too late the full impact of my actions had on you time and time again. It doesn't matter how much I prattled on and on with excuses and justifications about how I was always trying to improve and learn from the mistakes I made. I should have paid closer attention. I should have worked harder to fix the issues we had, especially when you gave me so many chances. But I failed. If I could have been able to tell all of this to you in person or over spoken word, I would have, but I respected your wishes of never speaking to you or interfering with your life again as you requested when you last contacted me. Yeah, because you asked her to be friends with benefits after she left you. I wanted to honor that request after seeing the results of my actions, since trying to fix it was out of the question at that point. But now that it's come to this is the absolute least I can do to start with, and I know full well it's not enough. If there's anything else I could ever do to make up for all I did to hurt you, I would do it in a heartbeat. I can only hope that now you can truly be happy. That's what you deserve. Almost at the end, guys. We almost made it. Good job. To everyone else who has now read both Amy's words and my response, I know I've let you all down. Again, an apology alone isn't good enough. Making amends for this requires serious change in me. I have to change. This is it. I have been going back to my therapist to try and work harder than ever at being a better person, a decent human being, so that something like this never happens to another person I love. Something so simple should not be such a struggle, but I've lost so many friends, colleagues, and even partners over awful behavior like this. The amount of relationships I've destroyed is living evidence that I absolutely need to do better. This is why I've chosen to own this and take responsibility. This is the right thing to do. I want, more than anything, to finally be a good person. Again, this is so weird coming from someone who's 30 years old. You know, it really... I always have to do a double take and be like, wait, how old is he again? He continues, I've tried and miserably failed with countless people to simply be a positive influence on others' lives. But I'm not going to run away. I'm going to keep trying, no matter what. It's been because of my own choices that I've been the person I am, but I cannot be the same person until the day I die. I need to continue forward and just be better. To anyone and everyone who took the time to read through this, if you wish to disassociate with me, you are fully justified and I bear no ill will. I know there will be consequences for this and I accept them. If you wish to continue giving me another chance, then I will not waste your time asking for forgiveness or to wish me luck or offer any more meaningless apologies. I promise I will keep doing my best to not let anyone else down again. Thank you. Chris Kerbifer, Neosi. This, of course, didn't go as smoothly as he had hoped. I'm sure he wanted to just make this apology and move on, but his ex wasn't just going to let him get through this as easily as he thought. Amy replied, saying, I read your post. I read it at least 5 times, in fact, and I am not impressed. This is an apology for being a bad boyfriend, not an abusive boyfriend. Did you even notice that the words abusive or abuse don't even come up in your post? Of course you did. You're trying to pass this off as you being subpar at relationships, and not the fact that you were emotionally abusive to me. You are dismissing the one thing people are concerned about. Claiming that what happened on my birthday was a miscommunication is a weak excuse. Very, very weak. If you really want to go there, I will remind you that on June 11th, 2018, after Sony's E3 conference, I was drunk and you wanted to have sex. We attempted and I decided that drunk sex wasn't for me and said that I didn't wish to try that again. That was a rule we established. Drunk sex is off the table, and yet, on my birthday later that year, you saw how intoxicated I was and thought you could try it anyway. Miscommunication? No, I don't think so. Holy... Man, am I the only one who feels awkward when a public couple has beef online and exposes all their intimate secrets? No?
I kind of feel
You
like I'm
do
not
too?
supposed to be there.
No way. We should be friends. Anyway. She then continues, not to mention you completely glossed over the part about how you kept me hostage in your car in front of my office building. Out of everything, that was honestly the most horrifying thing you did to me. You forced me to do something I didn't want to do. I was too afraid to leave the car and go back to work because I thought you would follow me out and scream at me the whole way for all my coworkers to see. You took advantage of me in a place that I had but no choice to give you what you want. Do you not understand how fucking wrong that is? Why didn't you talk about this in your apology? I guess you did something. You at least apologized for years of your extremely toxic behavior and acknowledged that you've hurt many people. I see that and recognize it, but I'm still not impressed. You are not taking full responsibility as you say you are. This reads like a post-messy breakup sob story. It is plain to see you are doing damage control and are hoping you can skate by this pitiful response you call an apology for your abusive behavior. This is exactly what I was afraid of. You are not going to change. You know the truth and are choosing to hide it, hoping you can just barely get out of this by the skin of your teeth. Is this really all you have to say? I wish you would not just apologize to me, but to all those you've hurt. Both you and I know who they are. You said that you would do anything to make it up to me. This is it. Please change my mind. So, holy shit, man, she dropped a nuke on his ass, right? His apology was completely rendered to ashes. His entire thing, everything he wrote, was now meaningless. And this is a good point. When you go back and read this, and then read what she had written here, all of a sudden you realize, wait a second, he didn't even mention half the things that occurred, and the ones he did mention, he definitely aimed to limit the details. So then, surprisingly, instead of ignoring her, he chose to reply. And he starts it off with, even in my wanting to set things right, I failed you yet again. I'm sorry. It's like, dude, you're 30 years old. What is this? What, a soap opera? A 15-year-old would write this. Come on, man, get to the point. He continues, I will be more explicit. You're right. This is not merely about being a bad partner, regardless of my intentions, my reasoning, my explanations. It does not change the fact that I was emotionally abusive to you and left lasting damage on you. It haunts me that I did this to you. Okay, progress. This is progress. He continues, I deeply apologize for not illustrating what I meant about your point regarding what I did during your birthday. Once again, I broke a boundary that you clearly set and I should have been aware of beyond a shadow of a doubt. I am mortified that I not only forgot the details of what happened, but that I ignorantly chose to not remember an important rule you had asked of me and made you incredibly uncomfortable and continue to destroy our trust. I am disgusted with myself over this particular point more than anything else, and I know that my apology I've presented so far has not been good enough, but if you believe nothing else, please believe me when I say, for all of the boundaries I've disrespected, ignored, and stomped on, I had no intentions of ever forcing myself onto you with or without any sort of implied permission. So again, he says, I had no intentions of ever forcing myself onto you. So what were your intentions? You know, like, help us understand, right? It's like you do something bad. You say you had no intentions. What were your intentions? What were you trying to do? Were you trying to tuck her into sleep or something? Like, what was your actual goal here? He doesn't specify.
VTubers, voice actors, and artists.
I'm sorry as well for not delving further into what happened when we were in the car outside
Listen,
your
you
office
see,
that
when I
day.
tell you, when I told you I don't want to be with no
intend to
VTuber,
leave out specific
well, none of,
details,
remember
and
I told
will
you
take
this stuff?
responsibility for that here.
You
I
thought I
didn't
was playing.
realize that this was even more terrifying to you than it already was.
But I didn't
My
know
own
this about
selfish
the voice
emotions
actors.
and the temper tantrum breakdown in which I begged like a spoiled brat about allowing me to do something you already weren't comfortable with is unforgivable.
Hold up,
I
guys.
unintentionally manipulate. Wait, what? Wait. Did he just say I unintentionally manipulated? Wait, what? Anyway, he says, I unintentionally manipulated you, took advantage of you, and abused you in your kindness and understanding because I couldn't keep my childish emotions and inconsistent moral compass I clung to under control. I know full well how wrong it was. Saying I unintentionally manipulated you is crazy. Then continues, I don't blame you for not being impressed. I knew that. Despite how much genuine thought and time I spent on trying to make this as real and sincere as possible to prove to you that I wanted to take responsibility for everything, that it probably still wouldn't be good enough and that you wouldn't forgive me. I don't hold any of this against you. At the very minimum, I appreciate the acknowledgement that I tried, but if the end result is still that I've come across as self-serving, then I will commit to making things better. I swear to you with every fiber of my being that this was not intended as a PR stunt or damage control of any kind. I know full well and have accepted that my desire to change myself means my life as I know it is going to change. I know this will affect my relationships, other people in my life who I care about, and possibly my career and livelihood. That is not my concern. My concern is to simply, for once, maybe even for the first time, just do the right thing. This is something he keeps referencing. He's 30 years old and he keeps saying over and over how this is the first time in his life that he's doing the right thing. What have you been doing for the past 30 years, bro? Seriously, tell me, because I think we might be able to put you in jail. Like, what do you mean? This is the first time. Oh, he continues. If I have not been explicit and open enough in all of this, I will reiterate. I was an emotionally abusive asshole to you, a person who I claim to love. I committed thoughtless and ignorant actions against you through our entire relationship, and I'm sorry beyond all imagination for how I made you feel. I want to share one last thing, and I know this has a risk of coming off as selfish. Oh boy, here we go. But I want to be completely openly honest about everything.
I think I'm gonna
I had legitimate thoughts
the
of
colors.
wanting to kill myself last night. Dude, come on. Oh my god.
Yep.
Suicide is a very serious topic, okay? But here's the thing. In his initial apology, he highlighted how he wanted to end his life twice. And now he's highlighting how he wants to end his life again. It's like, dude, listen. At a certain point, it becomes ridiculous. It's like, what, are you going to mention this in every post now, every time you're cornered? This really doesn't help his case. Here, let me give you an example real quick. Boogie2988 had a crazy fall from grace, right? He's one of the OG YouTubers. He's been in a lot of controversy, but recently he tweeted out a crypto scam, supporting it. CoffeeZilla, an investigative YouTuber, reached out to him, asking him, hey man, are you aware this is a scam? Why are you doing this? And Boogie said, well, it's because I have cancer. It then turned out that the cancer was fake. Surprise, surprise. He then got on a podcast with Keemstar and a couple other people, and he got cornered. What happened then, you ask? Well, check this out. Near the end of the podcast, he felt so cornered that he left his chair, as you can see on the top left, that's him, and then makes his way back with a knife, threatening to hurt himself, okay? I don't know what this knife is. Is it a butter knife? I
What
don't know.
the
but
heck?
That's what he did, making Keemstar leave the podcast. Was he actually gonna hurt himself? Absolutely not. Did he get the reaction he was looking for? Yes. The problem of always saying you wanted to end your life, look, it sucks, all right? And of course, I can empathize, but at the same time, you genuinely did not have to mention this again. But it just seems like your ex was cornering your ass over your apology, coming in with a vengeance, and you felt so cornered over the fact that it was a half apology on your end that you had to just mention this again. People are very well aware of the strength this phrase has. Like, oh, I tried to end my life. Everyone all of a sudden takes a step back and is like, oh no, we don't want that to happen. Wait. Maybe we can figure it out another way. Maybe we were too harsh on him. Because look, the truth of the matter is, yes, I laughed when I read this, okay? If he were to actually end his life tomorrow, I would be seen as a horrible person. That's what they're banking on when they say things like this. The fear that if he were to actually do it, I would look terrible. So I have to believe him and lay off and not give him any consequences. But while I would not want him to end his life, or anyone for that matter, I still have to call this out and say that this was so unnecessary to mention. Like, why are you mentioning this? If not for pity points, why is this here? You know, when I first started making this video, I wanted to stay neutral, but dude, what's the point, man? With things like this, what's the point? This is really stupid. 30-year-old man, by the way. Anyway, he continues. Not because I wanted to take the easy way out or give up, but because I was so conflicted over if this was truly the right thing to do or not, and if it was actually a real sign of me wanting to change and be better. I needed to have a friend over to watch me, and I fully intend to see my therapist again soon to talk about all of my issues, my suicidal thoughts, my treatment of women in general, my temper, and my journey I need to continue on to finally be a decent human being. Again, I know this part of what I'm saying is about me and therefore to some extent selfish, but I swear this is about honesty and transparency about my intentions to set things right. Again, this whole paragraph, okay, you could delete it, it wouldn't matter, it wouldn't change anything, right? If anything, actually having this in your reply makes you look worse, like you're farming for pity, and as far as I can tell, that's exactly what you're doing. He continues, I'm going to apologize to all of the people I've hurt. I'm not expecting to change your mind in the process, nor is this solely for the sake of making it up to you alone. I will do whatever it takes to fix my mistakes. Thank you again for taking the time to read. So this whole thing was a roller coaster ride, right? And it prompted many people to see this and think, oh, this guy's a manipulator with the way he talks. He references the things that his ex-girlfriend is talking about in a very vague way, almost undermining them. And to many, this didn't really feel like an apology. Of course, in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't matter. What matters is what the victim thinks. And yeah, his ex-girlfriend, Amy, did not really see this as an apology. She saw this as very weak and that he could do way better. He then went on to apologize to other people, as I mentioned. I'm gonna sum those up really quickly in an effort to not have this video end up being 6 hours long, but I still want you to have somewhat of a full picture on the scale of this. Audrey Carr is one of his exes. He says he's been a terrible partner to them, an even worse friend, and he vaguely references the things he did, kind of similar to Amy, where he put a lot of stress and anxiety on her and didn't treat her with the love she treated him. Interestingly enough, this is someone who forgave him after their relationship, but then grew to distance themselves from him again because of actions he had done. Another person here was Kaylin Denton, someone who had stated previously that Chris should acknowledge his wrongdoings publicly. He apologizes for being extremely toxic, very unpleasant to be around, an absolute egomaniac, etc., etc. It's interesting because Kaylin actually responded to this. You can't see this here, but you can see this on this website. I don't even know what this is, but thank you to my viewer Vampish Mick who sent it to me. Otherwise, I would have never found it. What we can find here is Kaylin responding to this whole apology and saying, the fact that you had to unblock me for me to even be able to respond to this post should be a good indicator as to how this apology landed on my ears. He then says, thank you for apologizing to me, but I'm also a person who doesn't need an apology, not from you. I called you on all of this ages ago and I knew I was right then. Your confirmation of that fact now does little to impress. He then goes on to say that this was a first good step, but he had many things left to do to truly try and redeem himself. Saying, why were so few people included in your apologies? Where are your responses to the droves of people who you let defend you publicly when you stayed quiet in the wake of the callouts against you? This is referring to how people called him out in the past, he stayed silent, and let his fans bombard them online. And then says, if you want my honest opinion, which I have always given to you, it is that I think you're not sorry, but you're finally scared. I think that this is all done to keep your job. So overall, while he was thinking he was doing the right thing apologizing, they ended up doing way more harm to him and his reputation than good. He apologizes to a friend, Filthy Animal, who he hasn't talked to for over 10 years, for being insensitive, selfish, manipulating, and a bunch of other things, right? He then goes on to do the same thing with John Markle, Anthony Legato, and Tara Welker. Tara Welker in particular, he had a very lengthy history with. This honestly can be a separate fucking video by itself, but just know, even though he wrote this entire thing and then replied to her reply on Twitter, she still does not forgive him one bit, and she hates his guts, alright? This whole thing was very significant. It was crazy, right? This dude had pretty much admitted many things that—
Is Phoenix still here? Phoenix. I need names, Phoenix. This was clean though. I like it. Ooh. I like the energy here. The arm is kind of backwards. But like, yeah, because the thing is like this, right? It's like, it got wide this way. I don't know. But I like the energy. You found the artist online? These are bride type of women right here. Her head kind of small. I mean, typically, like, looking at this, like, people usually go off head height. So, with her head appearing small, gives the illusion that she's a massive lady in size, right? She gotta be like 8 foot tall or something.
that were a colossal nuclear bomb, right? The fact that he's 30 years old, saying that this is the first time he's doing the right thing in his life, the fact that he's done this for over a decade to colleagues, friends, ex-partners. You didn't need any proof. He was admitting it himself. No one hacked his computer. No one put him at gunpoint. He was writing all these things, and honestly, they made him look way worse than the accusations. Who the hell says this is the first time I'm doing the right thing in my life when you're 30 years fucking old? It's just crazy. But regardless,
30.
Chris did still try, according to
Explain.
himself and some of his coworkers in the
Gen
industry.
Chat. Never
More
mind.
than a
You
year
saw it?
later, on November 19th, 2020, he made this post saying, "Just want to share my final piece and then move forward. Over the last year or so, I have put my full focus into rehabilitating myself into a better person and more recently to heal the pain of the people I had hurt." He said that he participated in various emotional cognitive therapy programs, anger management, psychiatry, self-help books, and even medication, and he's confident that he is not the same person that he was before, that he can't undo his past mistakes, and that it's because of his newfound empathy that he has been able to better identify, acknowledge, and rectify these mistakes. That he wants to take full responsibility to heal the pain of the people he had hurt and to validate their feelings, to listen, and to apologize. He then says that he recognizes that he contributed to the scale of the online scandal by publishing details of his personal matters. Oh yeah, he did. That he communicated reactively and emotionally and was at times even hyperbolic with his words. As a result, he says that he allowed the internet to distort the truth, which not only resulted in personal suffering, but created suffering for others related to the situation by extension. So here he feels the need to rectify this point, to really make it clear: I have never raped anyone, I have never beaten anyone, I have never stolen money or jobs from someone else. For all of the mistakes I've made, I am not a criminal, period. He ends it by saying, "I'm still working hard to improve. I am not who I was a year ago. I am capable of change. I am not beyond redemption. I am worthy of living. I am not going to give up. I am going to keep going." So some other voice actors that even I recognize came out in support of him, right? Saying things like, "I've seen how much you've changed and I'm so proud of the work you've put in." You know, Aiden Rudd, for example, is someone who voices Sam in Honkai Star Rail. Some of his fans are also very proud of him, and some other people couldn't believe a single word he said. They still were against him, no matter what. You also had Zeno Robinson, who had voiced in some big productions as well, quote tweeting this saying, "Chris has been working incredibly hard to make amends, heal, and improve. I've watched him try to answer every single person he's hurt and really try to do better. He's definitely made huge mistakes, but maybe this can help clarify some things and help him start over." And I should mention too that one of the people that was in support of this was also Alejandro Saab, aka Sayu. The tweet isn't there anymore though, it was deleted. He explains that in his VOD, which we'll get to later. In any case, after this post, he slowly started making his comeback to the voice acting industry. While the online community wasn't fully convinced, it seemed that his coworkers and employers were. Now, is that because he told them the whole truth, or is that because he left some things out? I don't know, but he was making his comeback regardless. Looking at his IMDb, ever since 2019, he's had minor roles for the most part. You know, he was an NPC in Genshin Impact in 2020, was in a few roles in 2021, but then truly made his comeback in 2022, right? So a couple of years ago, he was in a few animes, and then in 2023 was also in quite a few animes up until his big break, which was Honkai Star Rail. Guys, you have to understand, the reason why this is a very big deal is because many voice actors have actually made their entire careers over being in a Hoyoverse game, whether it be Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, or now Zenless Zone Zero. These games are a very big deal. They have taken voice actors from being regular voice actors to public personalities, people who can stream, make YouTube videos, people with a following, celebrities. This is a very big deal. So after all these years in 2024, this signified his full comeback into the voice acting industry. But of course, as soon as that announcement was made, some people referencing the things that we just
know that ain't who I
about,
think it is.
but you know, with less detail. That's where I come in to give you the full story, baby. Hell yeah. This is where things get very nasty and very tricky. A day after Moe's was announced for Honkai Star Rail, Sayu tweets out, "Just got back on Twitter. Okay, serious talk tomorrow on stream. Love you guys." So around 14 minutes in his VOD titled "The World Needs Tech Support, and yes, I do voice in Zenless Zone Zero," he starts talking about it, right? This is what he says.
Anyway. 4 years ago, I commented on a situation I didn't know about. Like some of you guys, I'd heard about some of the accusations about Chris in 2019. I knew he'd admitted they were true, and I knew he promised he'd do therapy, and I believed that. I believed him, and when he said to me he had apologized to the people who he wronged and had been forgiven. And I want to make this clear, the only people who can forgive or not forgive Chris are his victims. I can't forgive him for them. That's not how that works. Okay? But when I heard they had, and that they supported his growth, I thought, oh good. That's what I wanted my tweet to be. My encouragement to keep doing the work and trying to grow, if that's what had brought his victims some peace, then great. I posted it, and then I didn't keep a close eye on the situation at all. I thought everything was fine. I thought it was okay. Until literally, like I said earlier, so many of you guys tagged me, and that's on me. I didn't know he hadn't spoken to many of the victims. I didn't know he hadn't been forgiven. I genuinely didn't know about half the things he'd been accused of, and again, that's on me for not doing my part and researching more, which is a pattern of mine, unfortunately. Ignorance is bliss, right? And look, I know we talk about how this is a space to escape from the real world and just have a good time. But at times, we gotta acknowledge the real world.
So that was what he had to say, right? He had come out in support of him seeking therapy and everything, especially like after his post in 2020. He had even made a tweet about it, but here's what he had to say about that.
You know? So, I deleted my tweet so it can't be used in any way. I'll be handling anything else going forward privately, but I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for breaking your trust.
Right, so I don't have to, thankfully, I don't have to do the web archive thing where I try to seek out one tweet he made in 2020. Look, he admitted it. He said he had made a tweet in support of him, and he had deleted it so that no one uses it, I guess in a video like this. But again, as he mentioned, he didn't know about half the things that Chris had done, and this goes to show that maybe he had not told the full truth to some of his coworkers that do openly support him. In any case, he apologizes profusely to his community, and then around the 20-minute mark, ends up breaking down crying, okay? I don't think it'll really help in any way to include this in my video.
No,
I'd rather not.
Don't put it in. Don't put it in.
You can easily tell that this really got to him. And this sucks because Alejandro's position in general is something he didn't really ask for. He has been given the title of the voice actor spokesperson involuntarily just because he holds so much influence, right? 300,000 followers on Twitch, 200,000 followers on Twitter. Whenever a big problem happens, as I mentioned, people go to him first to ask him, right? When Elliot Gindi, the insane creep who was a Genshin voice actor, got outed and fired immediately, everyone went to Alejandro to ask him what he thinks.
What the heck?
Whenever a controversy happens,
What the
everyone
heck
goes
y'all
to
ask him?
This
No,
is
yo,
no
Brian,
different.
I would've
that
instantly
definitely
been
gets to
like-
him sometimes. But
I would have instantly been like, what the heck you asking me for? Man, listen. I put my voice on a game. All right. There's a whole bunch of other people who put their voices on games too. Just cause I probably was in the booth with the man one day, we ain't friends like that. Yeah, there was some Instagram pictures us drinking together. Listen. I was joking. I didn't really mess with him. It was just, like he said he was gonna pay. I'm like, hey, who passes up a free, And I was, hey, what you want me to say? Man, that's crazy. Imagine, bro. Like, you just know somebody, all right? Or let's say you just, that would be, because then they would be looking at you crazy. But, like, you just know somebody, right? Or you've taken pictures with some people. And then now every time something comes out about them that they did something reckless, they go hit you up and be like, yo, you gotta have to make a statement. Make a statement? For what? I didn't even know him like that. It's so crazy, man. It's so crazy. Like, you have to say something. You got to say something. Oh my gosh.
But he had told us his stance. He didn't know the whole truth, and he does not support anything Chris Neosi stands for. And while I thought that this was going to be one-sided, that everyone would all of a sudden turn around and go up against Chris, I was proven very wrong by this Reddit post that was made by Sunday's voice actor, a major character in Honkai Star Rail. This Reddit post was made on r/Honkai Star Rail and was titled English Voice Actor for Sunday Responds to Chris Neosi Controversy. Now, of course, this could be someone impersonating him, right? Because he is someone who doesn't really frequent the internet so much. But I verified the user, and he has done a verified AMA on r/anime dubs, right? This is actually
Hold up. This anime right here, excuse me, this anime right here, I wanted to like it, but it just wasn't for me. Ain't no way I'm doing that. Exactly. Listen, if I'm on live and everybody's just like, yo, you have to talk about this, I'm just gonna be like, yo, I don't really know him like that. Alright, yeah, there's pictures around us saying haha. Yeah, I know we had the best friends forever shirts on. Listen, hear me out. Alright, listen. It was a rainy day, right? We're walking because we were drinking a little bit. We didn't want to drive. Obviously, we were caring about the folks in the streets. So we were walking, and then somebody hit a puddle nearby, splashed us with some water, right? The shirts, the clothes were soaked, so we had to change. Thank goodness nearby there was a shop. All they had was best friend forever shirts. So we had to put them on, hey. And then we went out, got some more drinks, and he was like, yo, let's take a picture. I was like, sure, why not? We took a picture in the shirts. All right, listen, I don't really know him like that. We ain't really friends like that. All right, listen, just calm down. So he be doing what he be doing over there. And listen, I'm not with him. I ain't with all that. I'm just saying, he be doing what he be doing over there. It's crazy though. It's truly crazy. Do not hit me up. Don't hit me up. Never.
a verified AMA on r/anime dubs, right? This is actually his real account. Here's what he had to say. Hi, my name is Griffin Puatu. I'm the English voice actor for Sunday in HSR. I wanted to make a post here regarding the Chris Neosi situation. Back in 2019, ex-girlfriends and former friends of Chris accused him of sexual, emotional abuse, and more. Those accusations were responded to by Chris, who owned up to and apologized for the things he actually did, while also correcting the record for what he did not do. No criminal charges have ever been brought against him, and over the past 5 years, Chris has struggled to improve himself and right those wrongs, while slowly trying to regain his ability to work again. During that time, Chris has earned the support of many of his colleagues, both privately and publicly. He has been hired by multiple studios for work in between then and now, even after facing consequences, firings, and blacklists for what he did. He has been hired by multiple studios for work in between then and now, even after facing consequences, firings, and blacklists for what he did. The reason why? Many of us had front row seats to everything that happened, and know that Chris has apologized, changed, and grown. We are happy he is working again and gets to pursue a living for himself in an industry that he loves dearly. If the people hurt by Chris believe he is undeserving of forgiveness or that he hasn't changed at all, then that's on them. Some of those people forgave him, some didn't. They have every right to feel however they feel, but that doesn't make it true, and it certainly doesn't give them the right to dictate whether or not Chris ever gets to work again. If your view is that no amount of change or apology is enough to forgive someone who's wronged you, and that you have the power to decide whether or not the individual gets to earn a living or not, then you're an unreasonable person. Those of us who have watched his journey from cancellation to growth and redemption, we believe in him. We've seen him changed, we've watched him take all of the right steps, not knowing if it would make a difference or get him his career back, but because it was the right thing to do. During that time, he's been hired back for roles at multiple studios, while other voice actors who faced cancellation have not. Why? Because his situation is different from theirs and warranted welcoming him back. My hope in voicing support for Chris is to broaden the discussion and provide another side to the story. Right now, Twitter/X is drowning in negativity, with death threats and calls for his firing running rampant. This type of toxic discourse is why I left the platform back in 2023 and no longer post there.
Why?
I keep an account to respond to casting calls and auditions for my job, but I refuse to add fuel to the heaping trash fire that it is. I know posting this...
I feel like low-key people just have problems. Like, what he did, bad, yes. Why do you want him to be gone off the earth? Like, he didn't take nobody out. Yeah, he didn't, manipulate people and da-da-da-da-da, which is bad. I'm not trying to put any light to it. But does that mean this man should be removed from the earth? I don't know. I don't know if that should happen because of that. It's wild. Like, these people are, like, going crazy. Like, he has to... And I'm like, yo, this man... Yeah, voice acting is really, cool and everything, and understanding the idea of it. But, like, this man does voices. I'm not trying to minimize voice acting, okay? I'm not. But that's what he does. And I know... Like, when you hear the voice, you think of your favorite characters. But, like, does that mean that you should take him out? I don't know. I don't know about that. It don't seem too right.
At risk for the same sort of vitriol that Chris is facing right now, I don't care. I would rather stand up for my colleague than remain silent. I don't know if there's much more for me to say beyond this. I'm sorry if I do not respond to your comments. I have tried to be as thorough as possible with this post. Judge its validity for yourself. Thank you for being so supportive as a fan base up until now. I'm sorry if this changes your view of me, but I felt in my heart of hearts that this was the right thing to do. I hope you understand. When this was posted, guys, this blew the hell up, okay? This is... I can't state to you how big this blew up, okay? This was made 21 hours ago at the time of me recording this, okay? He has since edited this. We will get to this, but before he edited this, the comments were not what he was expecting. But most of them stated that they didn't even know who the voice actor was. How this was doing the opposite of what the poster had intended.
Like,
this
who
was
are
actually
you?
bringing their attention to an issue that they didn't even know was an issue.
Oh.
After the Natland controversy, I got one more in me. I wanted to make a video about the Natland controversy, but this was definitely higher on the priority list, I think. Hi, Mr. Griffin. I'd like to just say that in most industries, it's considered wildly unprofessional to use a company platform as your personal soapbox, aka saying, hey guys, this is Sunday's voice actor speaking. If your secret purpose was to raise awareness and get people to stare shit against Chris, then good job, because it was definitely not something I knew about until this post. And then you look at this. Mujin be like,
Dang.
I died, bro. I died when I saw this, man. Hey, shout out Fruit Punch Samurai. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Hey, thank you. Another 3-hour video from Mujin. Can't wait to be honest. I loved it. Man, dude, I love the HSR community. What the f? You guys are amazing. Back to being serious, because this is a serious topic. As you can see, the comments range from I had no clue what the hell was happening, but now I'm aware. Thank you, I guess. To what the hell did you just say? Now, after this whole controversy was unfolding, obviously, this post has, let's check it out. Let's go to old.reddit to see the upvote percentage of this post. And here you go, 54% upvoted at 1,300 upvotes, right? This is definitely a controversial post. Hey, little update one day before I upload the video. It's currently sitting at 50% upvoted and down to 644 points. People have been downvoting this post like crazy, especially with how much attention it's been garnering. Thought you'd want to know about that. Anyway, back to the original video. He ended up making an edit, and here we go. Hey guys, this is the last thing I'll say in regards to this post. Things have clearly gotten heated, and I want to clarify some things before moving on. First, I am not blaming the victims for anything. All I said is that it's on them whether or not to forgive Chris or believe he's changed for the better. However, I don't believe they get to decide whether he works again or not. Second, I am not trying to apologize on Chris's behalf. Chris owned up to what he did 5 years ago in a public post. He also denied the things he did not do. I saw the firestorm brewing on Twitter, and I couldn't stand by and watch him get piled on with no one defending him. I thought that by posting here in long form, it would open the door to more nuanced and detailed discussion. I was wrong. At the very least, I need to apologize for stirring things further with what I said. However, I don't think staying silent would have been right either. I completely agree that this should have nothing to do with me or you. This should be between Chris and his exes/former friends. But all of this was made public 5 years ago by the people involved. It affects the fans, the people who work with him, all of us. We should be able to discuss these things civilly, openly, and honestly. But the more time I spend on the internet, the more I realize that isn't possible here. This isn't the town square or a place to discuss things freely or openly. These sites only serve to ratchet up our emotions, whatever they happen to be, and clearly this is an emotionally charged situation. The truth is, none of us know each other. We all judge each other blindly, yet regard one another with the familiarity of a neighbor, friend, or enemy. And then ends it by saying, I wasn't trying to change anyone's opinion, though it seems I've changed plenty of your opinions of me. If you truly believe I'm acting inappropriately or unprofessionally, I don't know how to refute or agree with you. You can't see my intent, nor the tone of my voice. You can only trust my word. Same goes from me to you. That probably makes it difficult or impossible to trust me or anything we see on the internet. I don't know. I have no idea how to navigate any of this. I did what I felt was right. That doesn't make it so, but it's the best any of us can do. So look, one thing is obvious. Griffin was way outside of his element here, right? PR is a very complicated thing. Public image and public relations, everything about this is an extremely tough nut to crack. And unless you are chronically online or have been doing it for a long time, it's very hard to make a post like this that will actually have somewhat of the results you're expecting. Griffin was completely blindsided here and ended up making the situation a gazillion times worse. I'm not even kidding. This post has made it so much worse for Chris. It's insane. Dang. You have 786,000 members on this subreddit, and many of them who are online have been alerted to this. A lot of them had no clue about it.
Imagine trying to help your boy out.
And look, what Griffin was trying to do is stand up for a friend. Man, that's very admirable. But the problem is, his wording was so terrible, it was so dog shit, that he ended up making himself seem like he's the same apple as Chris. They're both from the same tree. This is overall a really screwed up situation. Griffin has already suffered his first consequence for coming out in support of Chris, losing a role in a project he was on.
Dang!
This happened in less than 24 hours.
Oh
of
my
making
gosh!
the Reddit post. Things were
Sometimes
starting
you gotta
to get
be quiet,
real.
you know.
Alice Homura, who voices another major character in Honkai Star Rail, the character Robin, who ironically is Sunday's sister in-game, made a subtweet on the situation saying, to say I'm thoroughly disgusted is an understatement. Following it up with her announcing that she's taking a break from Twitter.
Oh, she's smart. She's smart with that. You just saw what she did? She was like, oh, Lucian, how's it going? how's it going? But you saw what she did, bro? She was like, oh, this man's stupid. But I know they're gonna want me to say something, so let me say, oh, that ain't my brother. That ain't my brother over there. Listen, nah, I don't know him.
Kyle McCarley, a successful voice actor in the English dubbing industry, tweeted this in reply to Honkai Star Rail's tweet announcing Mose as a character. He said, Chris Neosi is not a monster, he was a bad boyfriend, and he martyred himself in the court of public opinion for it. And then when you click on it, here's what you see. This post is from an account that no longer exists. That's right, he deleted his Twitter account shortly after. This, again, did not help Chris. Just like Griffin's post on Reddit, this didn't help Chris. Even if you wanted to defend him because you truly felt like that was the right thing to do, this action right here, deleting your account as soon as you got backlash in your replies, doesn't help at all. He then specified in his Discord that this wasn't him undermining the victims, it's just that cancel culture has been getting out of hand and that he didn't want this to happen to someone he's seen change so much over the years. As I said, this really didn't help the situation, and not many people even got the chance to see what he said in Discord, so does it really matter? Look, objectively speaking, this isn't just another case of someone being cancelled out of the blue. This isn't like South Korean cancel culture, right? Where someone's being cancelled, people want to end their careers because they started dating someone, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Chris, over the years, had many people, co-workers, colleagues, friends, whatever, come out to say how toxic, how abusive, how unpleasant of a person he is. He chose to ignore all of them, and as far as we know, it didn't affect his career.
Snap.
Because guess what? It was he said she.
He voiced the black. Oh, not the black guy. The Black Clover. Dang. The Black Clover movie. He was the voice of that guy. Hold up. Let me turn this off. It's not bad. It's like I really got to work on this a little bit more. I really got to work on it. Oh, snap. You got a whole lot of stuff here. Listen. Okay, so this is the last one I saw. The mom. And then now we have this one. And this one. Wow. You do a lot of detailing on the clothing. Very intricate.
He said there was no proof. And I think it's safe to say that in 2019, when Amy, his ex-girlfriend, wrote up the post calling him an abusive boyfriend, the same thing would have happened if he didn't respond, but he chose to respond. And in his response, he ended up making himself look a million times worse. This is simply about someone who was in a position of power and chose to use that power to commit malicious deeds. Does that mean that he should never hold another job in his life? No. But at the same time, would it be too crazy to assume that some people would just not want to have someone like that in their favorite game? I don't think so. And this leads me to Hoyoverse with their infinite budget and the infinite talent pool available to them for voice actors. It just really perplexes me as to why they would go with Chris out of all
I'm gonna do the three
people.
poses.
I do need to
Then I'm gonna
specify
do a
here,
full
though,
body
this is not Hoyoverse's
Lotus.
fault. This is the agency they hired. This is the studio or whatever that they chose to hire to pick out their talent. At a certain point, there was a controversy in which voice actors weren't being paid for their work in Hoyoverse games. Hoyoverse wasn't even aware of this. This was fully on the studio. But regardless, the responsibility does fall upon them because that's who they're hiring, right? And unfortunately, whenever you hire someone like that, you are tainting the reputation of anyone else who has voiced for your game. And there's many very talented and cool people who voice for characters here. Why would you take this risk? Why would you do that to yourself? So they have to be very careful with this. Look, I find it admirable that even though it was a very big risk, you had friends of Chris who defended him throughout this whole thing. Sure. But my question is, were they doing it because they truly saw change over the years and truly recognized that this is a different person, or were they misled like Sayu, who didn't even know half the stuff that Chris had done? I don't know. But I'm not about to send any hate brigades originating from this video, right? So we're not going to sit here and theory craft about that. It is completely up to you, the viewer watching right now, to make up your opinion on that. I think you can still make up your opinion even though I wasn't fully neutral halfway through the video, but can you blame me, dude? Come on! As always, I just hope that in the process, no one gets hurt. I think we have enough victims in this situation. What a mess this is, dude. Can we just go 1 week without something like this happening, please? Thank you so much for watching. If you watched the whole thing, as always, you're insane, and I love you, and I'll see you the next time I upload, whenever that is. Yeah. Mwah.
Crazy. His face, he's like, oops. Oh my gosh. Oh, we already saw this
To
one.
each other back in early 2023. But in this same group chat that he owns, she downplayed the doxing. They were trash talking him and hating.
That's real funny.
Welcome back to the continuation of this monumental incident. Now, guys, look, if you thought part 1 was crazy, let me tell you something.
Oh yeah, we already
Part
saw this one.
2 is just a. So, you know when a situation gets to a point where it's so catastrophic, people start saying the phrase, I hope this gets taught at universities so that it never happens again? Well, this is exactly what's been happening in the Niji Sanji and Selen Tatsuki situation.
Wait, I know the Niji
or,
Sanji.
better
but
yet,
I don't know the Selen Tatsuki.
incident. Because when I say that this is catastrophic, I don't mean to say it just in regards to VTubing. No, I say this in regard to the entire internet. Because this is one of the biggest cases of corporate mismanagement I've ever seen in my life. We're talking about a management team that didn't do anything about internal bullying and harassment and let someone almost die because of their negligence. I purposefully waited until we got somewhat of a satisfying conclusion because yes, there is a good ending here, thankfully. And what ended up happening to the corporation, or what is currently happening, is hilarious. This is gonna be a roller coaster, so strap in. Alright, so here's the deal. To really understand the severity of the situation, you have to understand the ecosystem of VTubing in general. The biggest players in VTubing often are associated to a corporation. These corporations tend to be from Japan, at least the biggest ones, and they kind of work like music labels, where they literally, and I mean literally, own everything. And yes, that also includes your VTuber model. Okay, this one in particular is fan-made, the ugly bastard, but you get the point. They own what makes you, you. And it goes without saying, they also have access to all your social media accounts, they have the passwords, they can do whatever they want, they can delete whatever they want. It's up to them completely. People will sign with them anyway though, because they're attracted by the idea of this network, of these resources, of all the stuff that the corporation can do for them. Just like how musicians will still sign with music labels. Currently, the two biggest corporations in VTubing are Hololive and Nijisanji. Hololive is owned by its parent company, Cover, and Nijisanji is owned by its parent company, Anycolor. Now you probably already know this by now from the title of this video and where we're heading with this, but the corporation at the center of this incident is Nijisanji's English branch, which is of course owned by Anycolor. But one thing you might not know is just how much Anycolor is worth. When it was put on the Japanese stock exchange in 2022, the worth of the company was at $2.5 billion. That's American dollars. Yeah, it pays to have anime girl avatars talk in front of a camera.
Oh, just like you were just saying,
The
sir.
source of revenue always came from Japan, but in 2020, during the pandemic's peak of loneliness, Nijisanji and Hololive saw an opportunity. English-speaking weebs. That's when the main culprit of the hour was created, which is Nijisanji's English branch. Selen was in the second ever English branch wave, which is Obsidia. She's right here, as you can see. But before even joining Nijisanji, she used to be known as Dokibird. Initially, she was drawing Twitch
Oh,
videos,
yeah, we
and
saw
then
this.
started streaming. People loved her wacky personality, and she was just having fun. She then joined Nijisanji's English branch under Obsidia alongside Roseby Lovelock and Petra Gurin. She was in love with the game Apex Legends. She would play that whenever she could. People quickly fell in love with her personality, and she was truly known to care about her fans way too much, often making big sacrifices to make them happy. She called them her Dragoons. But you know what? Since her first stream in July of 2021 with Nijisanji, things were going really well. Or at least, that's what people thought. Because at the end of 2023, news would come out that would turn the VTuber community upside down. It all started on Christmas Day, a day you're meant to enjoy with family. It couldn't have gone worse. The trigger for this entire catastrophe? A music video. Selen had worked on a music video for her fans. She paid $15,000 out of her own pocket because Nijisanji wouldn't fund it. And on top of not funding it, what do? They take down the video in under 24 hours. No explanation to the public. Remember what I said about corporations and how they have access to all social media of their VTubers? Yeah, that's what happened, and she couldn't do anything about it. All she could realistically do under the very tight contracts and NDAs of a corporation is make up a vague tweet, sort of explaining what's going on to her fans. In it, she says, "Hello, I apologize, but management has privated the song. Please feel free to re-upload since a lot of money and effort was done by so many Dragoons," her fans. I'm really sad that this happened on Christmas, but I hope somehow you guys will still be able to listen to it in some way. So I should mention that even at this point, many fans were asking Nijisanji to treat their talent better and to stop giving Selen such a hard time, okay? Even before all the stuff you're about to see, this was already a pressing issue. Her fans could already tell that this was getting to Selen. I mean, it is heartbreaking to lose so much hard work just like that. So they were understandably worried about her mental state. But no one could have been ready for what would happen 2 days after the music video got taken down. Because out of nowhere, on December 27th, she tweets on her account, "I apologize for the silence. I've been in the hospital after an accident and will be staying there for a few days to be under supervision. I just got back access to my phone yesterday." That's not something you want to see your favorite VTuber ever tweet out. Now look, at the time, her Dragoons did what any good fans would, wishing her good health, of course being worried, but hoping for the best. What many couldn't see at the time, though, is that there's something in this tweet that's very weird and off-putting. The Japanese apostrophe. As you can see from this tweet here by VT Screens, there are two examples of two different tweets, both made by another VTuber in the Nijisanji English branch called Anna Alouette. In the first tweet, a normal apostrophe is used, but in the second, a quote-unquote Japanese apostrophe is used, signifying that the first tweet was tweeted by her and that the second tweet was tweeted by her management team. The implications of such an accusation is just beyond what any of us can process. This already in itself is a PR catastrophe, a disaster by every magnitude. But at the time, the only people who really knew what was going on were Selen, her emergency contact.
What the heck? You know who this is? Oh shoot! I didn't know you were in the game like that, Zer.
In her offline chat, she went on this tirade saying, 173,000 subscribers. Tweet was tweeted by her management team. The implications of such an accusation is just beyond what any of us can process. This already in itself is a PR catastrophe, a disaster by every magnitude. But at the time, the only people who really knew what was going on were Selen, her emergency contact, we'll get into that later, Niji Sanji, her parents, and her lawyer. But as far as everyone else was concerned, her fans, and even her closest friends, their only source of updates were her tweets. So 4 days after being hospitalized, she tweets, "Thank you to everyone for the support since I've been gone. I'm discharged from the hospital and my parents are helping me after my accident. Thank you to my Dragoons for all the kindness and support. I will keep trying my best in the new year. You are what keeps me going." Now, of course, people were happy she was out of the hospital, but the concern was still there. It was very vague and people didn't know what was going on. But unfortunately, as you might have concluded from watching this video so far, things only got worse. 2 weeks after Selen's hospitalization, Niji Sanji's English branch tweets, "Due to unforeseen reasons, we would like to announce that Selen Tatsuki will not be able to participate in any activities at Anime Impulse Los Angeles 2024 on January 13th to 14th. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience and disappointment caused to fans who have been looking forward to this." And then they detailed that the fans were going to get refunds. Now, all the replies here couldn't care less about the event and are all hoping for Selen's recovery. They're very supportive and are pretty much just giving their thoughts and prayers to her. But this was the first time since she got out of the hospital that we got any form of updates on her, and it's been 2 weeks. People were starting to get worried. So another 2 weeks passed by, and now it's been 1 full month since she tweeted that she got out of the hospital. So at this point, patience started to run real thin, okay? Prompting her fans to rally around the hashtag #WhereIsSelen on Twitter, demanding answers just to know that she's okay, alive and breathing. This is the tweet that started it. If this statement comes off as asking for too much as a fan, I apologize, but I and many other Dragoons have been worried about her well-being, and I think it's gone long enough to not hear from Niji Sanji directly. The most important thing to understand here is that at this point, even if you watched VTubers she interacted with, they wouldn't mention her. Niji Sanji, her corporation, who has a responsibility to represent her, wouldn't mention her either. It was absolute radio silence. And what's even worse is that her close friends didn't even know what was going on either. Just 1 day after the hashtag started trending, a friend of Selen, RPR, said, "It's been over a month of pure silence and is starting to get concerning. It would be nice to know where and how Selen is doing."
That's gonna be it for me. I gotta head out.
But listen, we got some stuff done, okay? I should have saved exactly where we started today, but I didn't because I thought we were gonna be done. But it looks like there's still a few more I would like to add. But I'm liking it. I think it's looking pretty good. The background is the biggest problem for me right now. The background is the biggest thing that's bugging me. But I'm liking their faces. I'm liking this. Still pretty sure I'm going to end up doing it. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I could have, you know what? I should have did her hand differently. I'm not gonna change it because this hand's okay, but I should have drew the hand differently. Have a good one. Oyashumi, oyashumi, oyashumi. Good night, guys. Have a blessed one. Peace out. Have a great night. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.